Happy New Year's Day, everyone. Happy Friday, Junior. It is officially 2026. The former year, 2025, is done. I don't think anyone is going to miss it. But Happy New Year to everyone. Hopefully you all had a wonderful New Year's Eve. We had a really great time here on New Year's Eve. I know Don Lemon did too. We tried to jump on Don Lemon's show, but we had a little technical difficulty getting in with him. But I know Don had a good time. And had a few drinks and had some great friends and had a really great time. So Happy New Year to everyone. But we wanted to jump on and do a really quick breaking news live today because some big news happened in the great city of New York. New York City now officially has a brand new mayor, Zohran Mamdani, perhaps the youngest mayor in New York's history, one of the youngest, if not the youngest. He has finally stepped into his historic moment. Now, there are two parts to the inauguration ceremony. We're going to live stream the actual public inauguration. There's a public inauguration, but there was also a private inaugural ceremony. Let me read to you a little bit. The New York Times story is kind of wild. This is the New York Times headline that they wrote on this morning. Zohran Mamdani, the left-leaning populist who deployed a mix of charm, social media savvy, and an unyielding focus on affordability to catapult him to political stardom, was officially sworn in as mayor of New York City early Thursday, just after the New Year's Eve ball dropped in Times Square. Pin in that, we'll note that Eric Adams, the previous mayor, he actually did his swearing in Times Square because, you know, Mayor Bling Bling. So that's how he did it, very publicly, very Eric Adams-y. But this ceremony was held underground at an abandoned showpiece of a subway station near City Hall. And it says, this caps Mr. Mamdani's year-long rise from obscure state lawmaker to international figure, embodying the hopes of New Yorkers and Americans across the country who were enthralled by his journey to becoming the city's first Muslim and first South Asian mayor. 4 minutes before midnight, Mr. Mamdani, who is only 34 years old, his wife, Rama Duwaji, and Letitia James, the state attorney general, disembarked from a number 6 train into the grimy, dimly lit, and yet stunning subway station. They promptly took their places on the steps beneath a dramatic archway emblazoned with the words City Hall. And then they waited a bit awkwardly, a bit jovially, for the arrival of the appointed hour. There was discussion of New Year's resolutions. Ms. James began to sing Volare with the mayor's name swapped in. And finally, after an impromptu countdown to midnight and cries of Happy New Year, Mr. Mamdani placed his left hand on 2 Qurans held by his wife. And I believe that is a first in New York City, swearing in on the Quran. One Quran belonged to his grandfather. The other belonged to Arturo Schomburg, the Black historian and writer. He's always giving those nods to Black history. Ms. James swore in Mr. Mamdani in a smattering, as a smattering of family, allies, and reporters looked on. We have video of that. And Jason, if you could play that video so folks can see how that went down.
Three, two, one. Good evening, everyone, and Happy New Year to all of you. And I can't think of a better way to usher in 2026 than to be amongst family and friends and to inaugurate the man who will bring about a new era of progress, promise, and prosperity for New York City. Zohran, I am so proud of what you have accomplished, and I'm filled with joy about what we will accomplish for our beloved city over the coming years. And so with that, let us begin. Please repeat after me and raise your right hand. I, Zohran Kwame Mamdani,
Zohran Kwame Mamdani,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Charter of the City of New York,
and the Charter of the City of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of
the office of
the Mayor of the City of New York
the Mayor of the City of New York
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Mayor, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Very happy to be here. Okay,
It's such a pleasure to have you.
please sign your name.
Yes.
There he is signing. It looks like he's signing
Thank you,
the
sir. And
official
may I now ask for your
paperwork.
$9 filing
You may
fee?
ask for my $9. There we go. This should be exact change.
Excellent, Mr. Mayor. Thank you very much. And the last thing, would you please sign the book?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Ali.
Thank you, Mr. Najmi.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, so you're going to sign the first line here. You're going to put today's date, your signature.
Okay. Print or sign right
Oh, could you do both? Please?
Okay.
Thank you.
Is this
City
Gracie?
Hall?
City Hall?
Hall?
Okay.
Okay.
Do I leave that for you?
We'll leave that for me.
Okay.
Okay, it is now official.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, congratulations.
Thank you so much. It's the honor of a lifetime. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you so much for everyone for being here. Happy New Year to New Yorkers, both inside this tunnel and above. And I cannot wait to see everyone tomorrow as we begin our term.
So that was the ceremony, and it was held in this beautiful, a lot of folks in the chat talking about how beautiful that subway stop is. That is a closed subway station. That subway stop is not open anymore, but that was a former sort of city hall entrance. It's breathtakingly beautiful. New York City has a lot of those kinds of beautiful vistas that are hidden from the public. There's a whole underground world in New York City. And so he was sworn in there. Afterwards, he posted, this is the thing Jason briefly put on screen. He put up this, that's his social media post. New year, new mayor. There he is operating from his brand new office. And so he and his wife will move into, it's a brand new world for him. Let me read just a little bit more from this New York Times story. After he signs the oath of office, which you just saw there, the ceremony took all of 10 minutes. The mood was understated and the crowd intentionally intimate, with roughly 20 people in attendance, including the parents of Mr. Mamdani and Ms. Duwaji. This is the quote: "He has led people ever since he could, I think, so it doesn't seem like out of the blue. It seems very much in the river of things." Mr. Mamdani's mother, the film director Mira Nair, said after the brief ceremony that this was unimaginable, but I think quite beautiful. So this is a big deal. Zohran Mamdani is an historic figure for Muslims in America. He's an incredibly historic figure, the first Muslim mayor of this incredibly diverse city, perhaps the most diverse city in the United States, if not one of them, and a city that is teeming with immigrants. He is an immigrant who came to this country, became a citizen, very young. He came to the country as, I believe, a 5-year-old or 7-year-old, went to New York City schools, was educated in the city's public school system. He is was a city councilman, somebody who was operating at the citywide level. He is an advocate. He was one of the founders of Students for Justice for Palestine when he was in college. He went to very good school, Bronx Science, as a kid. Like, he's a smart kid, obviously. He had a famous mom, Mira Nair, obviously the filmmaker who made Mississippi Masala. And for a while, he was a rapper. And very interesting story. I will note, as I also remind you guys that if you have not, I mean, obviously you guys are here hanging out with us in the live, so you probably are already subscribers. We want to thank every single one of our 384,000 subscribers. We appreciate each and every one of you. But we absolutely hope that if you have not hit like and subscribe, please do that. Take a moment to just go ahead and hit that little thumbs up button. We appreciate everyone who does that.
It's a new year, guys. Come on, let's start off the new year right. Let's go ahead and hit that like button. You know?
Absolutely, absolutely.
And by the way, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year from Jason and from Joy, and people saying they missed me last night. Look, we tried to log in. Don, they were having a time in New Orleans, y'all. They were having a time, and we tried to jump in with them, but it was a little bit of technical difficulties. But I got a few texts that people did see my fabulous glam for like a hot second. We had the fabulous glam on, but we had a really great time. We had our own little party, and we had a really, really good time. But yes, Don was having a time, and we know the Lemonheads were showing out in New Orleans. I will note that the CNN version of their New Year's, which Don used to be a part of, it was not as exciting. And the crowd was not as big. That's just different. I'm just saying new media is here. And so we want everyone to support it. But yeah, the historic nature of what Zohran Mamdani has accomplished. And we're going to jump more into this on tomorrow night's show with some really great guests who are very much aligned to what Zohran Mamdani is doing and what he's planning on doing. I was just watching a press conference that he did yesterday in which he talked about really reinvigorating the health and human services inside of the New York City government, trying to make New York a more affordable place to live, a more amenable place to live and be healthy, to get fresh food, affordable housing. Like, this is why he won, right? And so I think it's really important for people to pay attention to this particular mayoralty. There are a lot of mayors, obviously, throughout the country, but the New York mayor might be the most important mayor in the country because New York City is the financial capital of the United States. It's also the home of the United Nations, at least for now. And it is in many ways the cultural capital of the United States, New York City, obviously. There are other cities that definitely rival that, like Hollywood, California, Los Angeles, et cetera. But when you think of the United States, most people think of New York. Most people, when they come to the United States for the first time, where do they go? They go to New York. They come in through New York. It's the home of Ellis Island, the Statue of Liberty. It's where immigrants used to all pour into the country without documents, by the way. They just would show up, sign some forms, and come on in.
Joy, just to let you know, our guest is here. So if you want to bring us
well, absolutely. Let's bring in an expert who's got some really important thoughts to share on this. Christina Greer, our friend of the show and my friend, who is an expert in all things New York City politics. And so I literally texted her like half an hour ago, like, girl, you around? Come on this live and talk to me about this mayor. Christina, Happy New Year, first of all.
Happy New Year, Joy.
Thank you. Tell me what you think, just as an expert in political science and a young lady who really focuses on history. What do you think the significance is of Mamdani's election?
Well, we have so many, Joy, that we can sort of parse out. First things first, when he swears, when he has his inauguration for the public in just about 30 minutes now, he'll be sworn in on a Quran, 3 Qurans, actually, 2 family, and one Quran that belonged to Arturo Schomburg, the Schomburg Center, 135th Street in Harlem. So he's already signaling certain things there. He'll be the first New York City mayor who uses a Quran. Second, not only is he South Asian, he was born on the continent of Africa, East Africa, in Uganda specifically. So, and his middle name is Kwame, representing Kwame Nkrumah from West Africa. So, like, people on the continent also feel pretty strongly. His father has been very clear. He is an African who is of South Asian descent. So there are many identities that a lot of folks are possibly trying to struggle with, because as you and I both know, and I wrote in Black Ethnics, we're used to kind of this dichotomous black-white conversation. Sorry, this is my alarm letting me know that I'm here to talk to you. So we're used to this dichotomous relationship, but there, as you were saying just before I came on, in New York, there's so many complexities of what identity means, not just racially and ethnically, mixing that with ethnicity and identity and religion and generational status. This is one of our more recent mayors who wasn't even born in America. So, we always teased Bloomberg and de Blasio because they were born in Boston, and New Yorkers are like, what's that? I mean, I feel like New Yorkers are more accepting of a mayor who's born outside of the continent than they are of someone who's born in Boston. So
sure.
it's an exciting time. Obviously he campaigned on issues that are of great concern, not just to Democrats, to Americans all across the country. Affordability. I texted you many weeks ago, the price of lettuce in my grocery store was $10.
Yeah.
And I said, this explains why this young man won. I think some people are obviously wondering how he's going to do it. He's going to need the federal government and obviously Albany and the work of Kathy Hochul, who's our New York State governor, to work with him. He's got a lofty bill that he wants to propose, not just universal pre-K and 3K, expanding those programs, but the free buses and rent freezes and affordability writ large. But keep in mind, Joy, we had free transportation during certain parts during the pandemic. We've had rent freezes during certain times during the pandemic. We've, as my grandmother would say, if we can put a man on the moon, we can figure this out. So it helps that Kathy Hochul is up for re-election. It helps that she does have a primary in June from her own lieutenant governor. So she will be willing to, kind of horse trade with Mamdani, because she definitely needs the momentum and the millions of people who support him. So I think that, he's got a short runway, but he definitely has the wind behind his sails to do some really good things. And at least he'll show that he's trying. Keep in mind, Joy, we've had a mayor. I'm being very polite to Eric Adams, but many people felt that he was deeply unserious for 4 years. And even de Blasio, his 8-year term, he worked really hard for 2 years. And then he ran for president, was everywhere but New York City for much of the 6 years where he was mayor. So just even seeing a mayor who, and youth is on his side, he walked from the tip of Manhattan all the way down to Wall Street. There's a certain energy that he brings to this new era. And I think a lot of people are excited and here for it.
One of the things that I think is interesting that you mentioned, the other people would often look at what is their sort of end, what they're running mayor as a stepping stone to what?
Uh-oh, I'm having some hard time hearing you. Oh, I hope you can hear me. I'm
focused on the job ahead.
Right.
Really be interested specifically in being, which is interesting because it doesn't seem to have any other agenda, right? Like his agenda is the mayor of New York City, drive and
Right. So keep in mind, the mayor of New York City is in some ways a dead end job. I mean, we have not seen mayors go on to being governors. It's a very unique position. It's almost like being the mayor of DC. Where are you going to go from there? And so the good thing is, we had de Blasio, who was trying to run for the presidency. And then after he left, he ran for Congress. We had Bloomberg, who tried to run for the presidency. We had Giuliani, who was thinking about running for the Senate, and he ran for the presidency. This right now seems like a 34-year-old who sort of fortune favors the bold. He ran for an office, and got elected to state legislature and, really wanted to, he's deeply embedded with taxi cab drivers, making sure that they got financial restitution. And then he saw an opportunity and took it. But as of now, he's been very clear, this is the job. And keep in mind, as LBJ, my favorite president, said, when everything was going on with civil rights and Vietnam, and like, it just seemed like the world was collapsing around him, he was very clear. He said, it could be worse. I could be a mayor, right? It's a 40-hour-a-day job. And so as long as Mamdani, I think, keeps in mind that this is the focus and his primary focus right now for the next 4 years or even 8 years, I think the only people who benefit from that are the citizens of New York.
No, I think a mayor whose agenda is to be the mayor, I think is important. And by the way, to me, a mayor is the best political job. If there's one political job that I think it encompasses all the potentially good things about politics, it's mayor, because you're close to the people. You're an executive, so you're not one of 100 senators or one of 435 members of Congress, so you can make executive decisions. You're like a little mini president, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
President of a governable entity, which is a city, not a whole state. So to me, it's like even better than being a governor. It's like a really great job in a way, but it's also a job that can have a huge pressure on it because you're close to the people. People actually see you. And he's somebody that, rides the subway. He's somebody that you're available to the people. So the pressure on you is hard to sort of manage. What do you make of sort of the questions about how much pressure his very, very progressive base may put on him versus what he'll be able to accomplish? The DSA supported him. The Democratic Socialists of America supported him. The Working Families Party also endorsed him. He was obviously the Democratic nominee. So he's got a lot of cross pressures of people who want to see stuff get done.
Absolutely. He'll have a lot of pressure from the left and the right simultaneously. I think, the good thing is so many members of the DSA are running for various offices right now, whether it's Congress or whether it's getting ready to run for state legislature, state Senate, or even city council 4 years from now. And so I think there's going to have to be some level setting and some expectations. I've interviewed different members of the DSA on my podcast, FAQ. Some of them don't believe in compromise. I've been very clear that compromise is the essence of democracy. And so without that, we have dictatorships. So I think there's going to have to be some sort of, we're now sitting at the big table, and this is what is going to happen. Like, we don't get everything on our wish list. It's like when we're kids for Christmas, it's like, you'll get some of it, but you need to be happy with some. You're not going to get all. I do think, Joy, that, being a mayor, to your previous point, is a fantastic position. The caveat and the footnote, though, is so much of the money that Mamdani needs comes from Albany, our state capital, and also the federal government. And as you and I both know, we have a deeply erratic president who's already tweeted, in 2026. So we don't know how he'll try and penalize New York. The difference, though, is New York City is the financial epicenter of the nation. So the president can only go but so much off the deep end before real adults say, slow down. This is a bridge too far. But the good thing is that he seems as though he wants to work. It seems as though he likes to read. It seems as though he likes to surround himself with other smart people who are going to do their job. And the frustration we had with the de Blasio administration was that he hired deeply qualified people, but then didn't want to listen to them. The problem we had with the Adams administration was that it was a mixed bag. There were some people who were highly qualified, some people who were highly corrupt and should not have ever been inside the halls of City Hall. So hopefully, if we look at some of these hires or nominations thus far, it is encouraging to a lot of people who are in those various sets, whether it's transportation or education or, community affairs or religious affairs, whatever he's trying to work together. Obviously, the police commissioner keeping Jessica Tisch has been a mixed public opinion for quite a few people. But I think that's part of the compromise that we're going to have to see. He governed, or he campaigned one way, but I think we're going to have to see a different type of governance that's much more middle of the road, because that's what the 8.5 million New Yorkers represent.
Well, I will make a prediction right here and right now. And thank you to everybody in the chat. Thank you to Lisa Goldsby through $1.99 in the till. We appreciate that. Here's my prediction for what the orange man will do when it comes to Mamdani. Absolutely nothing. He would do nothing to him. First of all, when they met, somehow Mamdani cowed Donald Trump completely. I don't know if he charmed him. I don't know what he said to him, but something he did made Trump very impressed with this young man. And also, Donald Trump recognizes star power and wants to be in proximity to people he thinks are stars. And so since Mamdani is a star, he's going to suck up to him. And the idea that he would first of all, he's backed down. I'll give you all some other breaking news. Donald Trump is backed down on the attempts to reintroduce the National Guard and reoccupy Portland, Chicago, Portland and Chicago. They've sort of backed down on that because I think they suspect inside the administration that they're not ultimately necessarily going to win a Supreme Court case on it. But he'll back down on this too. He's not going to occupy New York City I don't see him doing it. Now, they are doing a lot of ugly things to immigrants in New York City, as they are everywhere around the country. But what do you think will happen vis-a-vis immigrants? Because Mamdani has been very clear that he's really not going to allow what Eric Adams was willing to allow the regime to do to immigrants.
Right. And, the quid pro quo was not what he's signing up for. I mean, I think, ICE has already been in New York. Let's be clear. It hasn't been widely reported in the same ways as other cities, but they have definitely been here. I think this is where his relationship with Jessica Tisch, the police commissioner, will come in to play, because we are a sanctuary city. The NYPD does have jurisdiction. We are the largest paramilitary organization in the United States. And so I think some rubber is going to have to hit the road. But as you said, Joy, right now, the president who said, he's so attractive, he understands real estate, he understands television, he understands media. And so there is a certain level of a grace period. But, obviously reading his tweets from this morning, who knows what this president is capable of. The difference is we've got a lot of billionaires and millionaires who always threaten that they're going to leave. They're not leaving. They're not leaving. They're not going anywhere. You're going to go, to Passaic, New Jersey? You're not. So what I do think is, these ICE interventions are bad for business. And sadly, it's not a humanitarian conversation that we're going to have. We're going to have a financial conversation. Restaurants can't keep losing their workers or having people afraid and living in the shadows. And I think that will be the actual way that Donald Trump understands that he needs to back off and slow down.
Yeah, absolutely. And one last question before I let you go, because I know you have a lot of media calling on you today, the international piece of it, because the New York City mayor is a mayor, obviously, of the domestic city, but also it's the home of the United Nations. Donald Trump has a habit of inviting a war criminal named Bibi Netanyahu to the United States and welcoming him into the White House. What do you think it looks like if Netanyahu attempts to go to New York City?
So that's going to be really complicated, Joy, because don't forget, during the campaign, Mamdani did call for Netanyahu's arrest on American soil. And so that may be a campaign promise that he'll have to negotiate and or alter his position now that he is mayor. We know that you say a lot of things in the campaign phase,
right,
and things are a little different in the governance phase. But he has been unwavering, and this is part of the reason why he's been so successful. He's been unwavering in his support for not just the Palestinian people, the Palestinian cause, but this larger humanitarian conversation that we're having as a nation, the larger conversation about genocide that so many politicians have been afraid to have. And he was very steadfast and firm. And I think he benefited from that moral compass that a lot of New Yorkers have been looking for from their leaders, especially leaders in New York, since, obviously we have Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries. We've got a lot of national leaders who come from the city of New York, Brooklyn in particular, and they've been yearning for that level of clarity and moral direction. And Mamdani stepped in and filled that void for many New Yorkers. And I think as long as he sort of keeps that clarity of the conversation open, this is not an anti-Semitism conversation, as he's been very clear about. It's a larger humanitarian conversation. As an international mayor, someone who was not born on U.S. soil, someone who spent the vast majority of his life in New York City, I think he's poised to have some really hard conversations at a very crucial moment.
Absolutely. Christina Greer, we appreciate you. Thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate you. I'm going to release you to go to your other media hits. I know you have a bunch going on. Thank you very, very much, my sister. Happy New Year. And I will talk to you soon.
All right. Spending New Year's with you, Joy, is fantastic.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yes, it's New Year's Day in America, everybody, and it is a new day in New York City. New York has a brand new mayor, 34-year-old Zohran Kwame Mamdani. There we go. Okay, let's do this. Now, we have got some Team TJRS members in these streets in New York City, covering it live. Let's go to, are we going to Wanjira? Are we going to, oh no, we're going to Nida. Nida Khan, who you all remember you introduced to. She wrote a really brilliant piece about what Mamdani's election meant for her personally, her family, as a South Asian woman, a woman. But you are in the midst, Nida. What are you saying? You're at the block party.
I hope you can hear me. It's so loud over here down in City Hall.
Go for it.
We're coming to you live from the Mamdani inauguration. I hope you can hear the words that I'm saying, because I really can't hear you. It's way too loud. But on this historic day, we're about to see the ceremony. Bishop Mamdani, the first Muslim yes, to be South Asian, and if you can take a look, stand around, a big old party happening here.
Look at that. Wow. Y'all, look, the people of New York City are outside.
As you can see, the vibe is crazy. Everybody's amped up, and the block party is actually surrounding City Hall ground. So those folks that was open to the public, they can't even get anywhere near here. And that's a million more people than you can imagine. Not literally a million, but hundreds of people. Who knows if it is a million? But even in here, with people that have the press, you have, invited guests, you have everybody in here. Packed to the brim. Security line is insane. And we're here representing the Joy Reid Show. Excited to be here, coming to you live at City Hall in New York City.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Show a little bit more of the video if we could. Okay, there we go. Look, this is the crowd, y'all. So as we mentioned, there was a private swearing-in ceremony earlier this morning, or earlier today, right at midnight, basically, right over Happy New Year midnight. And now there's going to be a public swearing-in ceremony, which we're going to
watch. Wanjira doing the camera.
And Wanji is on the camera. So you guys are experiencing Wanjira and Nida. And Winnie.
I'm so sorry, I can't hear you, Joy. We'll check in with you again shortly, okay?
Sounds good. Sounds good. Sounds good. Thank you very much. Yeah, they can barely hear. It's super loud. And we've been waiting for them to get through a miles-long security line, but we're going to bring you the latest and greatest they're going to be attending the public swearing in ceremony because as we reported earlier, only 20 people, small number, for security reasons and other reasons, they had him sworn in, and also just the visual stunning look of it, just with family and friends and close friends, about 20 people. But there's a public swearing in ceremony that's going to begin at 1 p.m., which we're going to bring to you live right here on the TJRS channel, because we want you guys to see it. This is an historic moment. This is an historic nomination. A lot of people on the Democratic leaning side of the aisle were denied an historic inauguration after the 2024 election, when there was a lot of hope that Kamala Harris was going to be elected president of the United States. She would have been the first South Asian and first Black woman and the first female president of the United States. That was an historic moment that a lot of people felt denied. Well, there is another historic moment that happened already. Zohran Mamdani officially is the mayor of New York City, but the public swearing in, as you just saw from our Team TJRS folks that are on the ground in New York City, is going to be huge. It's going to be bananas. As cold as it is in New York City today, tens of thousands of people are turning out. There's also going to be after parties throughout the day. There are parties that are planned around the city, because from New York City, this is kind of like, this is their like Kamala moment, right? This is that moment when you have an historic young mayor with really bold plans to make New York City affordable and accessible for ordinary people. This is something that's personally important to me because, I came up in that era. Jason and I came up in that era when you could just live in New York City as a young person and just do your thing. And you didn't need to be a wealthy person to enjoy the city. It's always been that way. But what happened? Thank you very much for the compliments. I appreciate that, EG. It's changed because the super rich, as they've done to the entire country, have warped New York City and turned it into a playground for the super rich. And that is just not what New York City was supposed to be. From the Harlem Renaissance all the way through the 90s, when everybody was just living in New York City and enjoying the club scene, the 70s, you think about the disco scene, all of that was an accessible, affordable New York City. And we need to get it back to that. Thank you for the Happy New Year. Lawrence Richardson is wishing Joy and Jason Happy New Year. We've got $9.99 in the till from Eric Hain. Thank you very much. We appreciate everybody. We've got a question here. I'm looking in this. Why was Tom Artyom Alexandrovich allowed to return home after being arrested in the U.S. for child predation? It's an excellent question. I think we need to ask those questions. These are the questions that need to be asked. Taco will now go after Africans because he wants to go after Mamdani. He might do that. He very much might do that. One of the things we're going to be doing coming up on the show is we are going to dig into this attack on Somali Americans in Minnesota, and this scandal over fraud and Medicaid fraud, because there's much more to the story than you've been allowed to hear. Mainstream media has been following this right-wing streamer who's been doing his own version of the story and warping the narrative in a way that is unfair to the Somali community, about 70 of whom are involved. But there's another character and another figure who is a part of that story that I'll bet you haven't heard a lot about, because there's a lot more to this story of this Medicaid fraud in Minnesota than you have been told. Please stay tuned for that, because we are going to dig deep into that. But yes, New York City used to be a place where you could live, have your own apartment, live your life, hit the club scene, do your thing, and not worry about not being able to afford your rent. But now it's a place where it's very, very difficult to live. And it is the place that young people want to live. If you want to get into media, if you want to get into the arts, if you're an actor and you want to get on Broadway, that is where a lot of young people gravitate to. They gravitate toward New York City for a reason, because New York City is a creative capital. Erykah Badu came up, her career blossomed there in Brooklyn, New York. Spike Lee, all of that he created in New York City, you name it. This is the city that really kind of sets the stage and the tone for the United States culturally and financially. So running that city is really, to me, the biggest mayor job, with all due respect to all the other great mayors that we've even had on this show. New York City mayor is just different. It just is different. And it's really important that that city be run well and that city be run for the people. The rent is too damn high, says Lorena Taylor. And she's right. There used to be a the rent is too damn high party in New York City. And a man ran on that. He had that handlebar mustache. That was one of my favorite campaigns ever. And his whole slogan was the rent is too damn high. That was in 2012. And so the reality is, yes, for people who have big dreams in the United States, there are really two cities that they gravitate toward: Los Angeles, Hollywood, of course, and New York City. And so there it is. Somebody says, to your knowledge, we have Tinkerbell 67 asking, to your knowledge, since he was officially sworn in, has he signed any executive orders? To my knowledge, there have not been any executive orders signed as yet. The public swearing in happens at 1 p.m. It would not surprise me if any executive orders that were signed after that, but I don't know. So we will try to look into that. Not sure if any if any things have happened yet. Somebody mentioning in the chat, Diggable Logic, New York City is the arts capital of the world. Absolutely, it is. We're talking about the fine arts. We're talking about the creative arts. We're talking about Broadway, theater, film. It's such an important capital of this country. And interestingly enough, it is also the hometown of the President of the United States. He lives in Florida now, as so many New York City snowbirds do. A lot of people retire to Florida from New York City because they get tired of the cold. But the reality is he is a New Yorker from Queens, and Mamdani is also from Queens. And so they have that in common. And I think that was one of the things that allowed them to bond. I will note that this show, the Joy Reid Show, we have an interview with Zohran Mamdani that we filmed before he was sworn in mayor. So back in December, back last year, in the previous year, 2026, we did a really cute interview with Zohran Mamdani. In 2025, we sat down with Zohran Mamdani, and we did it in a very particular way because, as Christina Greer pointed out, this is an African man. He is a South Asian, but he's also an African. So we wanted to bring that forward in our interview. We wanted to bring him to one of our favorite places to eat in New York City and talk to him about more of the culture that he comes from, because I've seen a lot of interviews with him that really focus on a lot of, are you going to do this policy or that? We did talk a little bit of policy, but we really just wanted to have a cultural conversation with Zohran Mamdani. So we did that. That is going to debut on January 6th. So that's next week. So please stay tuned for that. And that's going to be our conversation, our first conversation with Zohran Mamdani, pre-mayor. We're looking forward to speaking with him now as mayor. I don't think anyone can afford to live anywhere right now unless you're a billionaire, says Lorena Taylor. And she ain't lying. You pay $3 for a drink in one area, then go down the street and it's $10, a lot of price gouging. Also true, Henry Gibbons. We are facing an affordability crisis in this country. And because New York City was already a relatively expensive town versus other places, right? Like a rent of $3,000 in New York for a studio in, Philadelphia would probably be half that. And the cost to just get by in New York City, the amount of money you have to earn just to have an apartment without roommates is just astronomical. The rents there are so high that it's higher than the mortgages that you would pay for an apartment or a home in most cities. The rent is so astronomical, and the requirements to just rent an apartment, you have to almost fill out what amounts to a mortgage application to live in New York City. And it's really crazy. And so we cannot afford to have our premier city become so unaffordable that ordinary people can't live there, and then becomes sort of the captive of the Saudis and the Bank of Japan, which owns a lot of the buildings there. The Saudis own a lot of buildings there. Basically, some of the most iconic properties in New York aren't even owned by Americans anymore because wealthy foreigners or foreign banks have bought them up. And so you think about things like, the iconic buildings in Manhattan, and you go walk down them and you realize that, Americans don't even own them anymore. They're owned by the Bank of Japan or the Bank of China, et cetera. So it's ugly, or the Saudis. So we want to change that reality. And that is one of the main jobs that Zohran Mamdani has ahead of him, because that is one of his biggest promises, is to make New York City affordable. And as goes New York, as goes the country. If New York City prices can be brought in line with normality and with morality, you can actually see a change throughout the country. It will ripple across the country. So what happens in New York really matters, really, really matters. So Happy New Year to everyone. We really appreciate you all tuning in. And I'm glad you all see the importance of this. We appreciate everybody in the chat that really seems to understand how important this mayoralty is. And we also appreciate all of you guys' support. Lawrence Richardson threw $20 in the till. We appreciate that very much. Everybody who's thrown, we got $9.99 thrown in the till from Eric Hain. We appreciate that. Thank you very much. Happy New Year. Did you cover George Clooney? What is it? Fleecing and fleeing of America. So George Clooney, I think what they're talking about is that George Clooney has received citizenship. Is it in France? Where did George Clooney get citizenship? George Clooney, and I'm going to be honest, I'm not going to hate on him for that, because the reality is we're going to talk about deed theft as well. Fino 271. It's a huge problem in New York. The theft of properties that were owned historically by African Americans, particularly brownstones, where when they were purchased by a lot of teachers and a lot of ordinary people that bought these brownstones in the 1980s during the height of the crack epidemic, when nobody wanted these brownstones in places like Clinton Hill and Fort Greene that were considered the hood, right? People didn't want to live in Red Hook. Those were considered bad neighborhoods. They were Black neighborhoods, or they were Puerto Rican neighborhoods. You had a lot of teachers purchase these basically mansions, these brownstones.
Do you remember back in the early 90s, you wouldn't dare walk through Red Hook or Dumbo, or even Fort Greene? Now it's like a luxury landscape all over those places.
100%.
I mean, it's closer to the water. So who was it? Was it Bloomberg when he first got there? Bought up all those abandoned properties by the water and put apartments in them and rented this crazy high over there.
Yeah, and I mean the Giuliani era.
Even Long Island City, which was affordable at one point. Long Island City is one of the most
cheap.
All those high rises over there, it's ridiculous.
Extremely high.
New York is ridiculous.
And I'll tell you, I've told this story many times. My first apartment that I had on my own was in Fort Greene, and it was $450 a month for a studio. $450. That is not a typo. 450. And that's
right across the street from Fort Greene Park.
Yeah, I had a park view, a fourth floor walk up for $450 a month. And that is the way pricing used to be. I had a 1-bedroom apartment. It was $900 a month. We never paid more than $1,200 a month. And our $1,200 a month apartment that was in a very nice neighborhood, almost across the street from Brooklyn Museum.
A duplex apartment they converted over, yeah.
It was a duplex apartment, upstairs, downstairs, with a slat staircase, a jacuzzi tub in the main bathroom, and a deck.
Glass elevator,
everything. And it was $1,200 a month. And this is not like in the 1970s.
95,
this was in the
96, 97.
And so now, we went back to visit that apartment a few years later, and that same apartment that we were paying $1,200 a month for was $3,600 a month. We ran into the super, and he said those same apartments were $3,600. I don't even want to know what my little $450 apartment was, but the amount of the elevation of rent is because people like Bloomberg, billionaires, are buying up the properties and then basically raising all of the rents in tandem. Billionaires are buying up these properties. The Jeff Bezos types are buying up block after block after block of these brownstones and then raising all of the rents all at the same time.
Foreign countries' 401k portfolios, 401ks, retirement plans of a whole bunch of foreign countries. What they do is they come and buy up all the available real estate in America, and they fix them up, rent it to us so they can pay their retirement funds back home. It's sick.
And they're making money. And New York is the main place that they're doing it, but they're doing it all over the country. I mean, buying up real estate and jacking up the rents and jacking up the prices. This is like happening all over the country. But New York City, it's just more exaggerated because the rents were already high in New York City. It's already an expensive place to live. And so when you do that, it's extreme. What people are talking about is deed theft, which is another thing that's rampant in New York City. And it's when a person that bought these homes up, a lot of teachers, a lot of elder people who then get old, and they may miss, $1 or $2 in tax payments, or they miss, some small payment that was owed to the city. That then becomes the impetus for investors to come in and purchase the deeds to their home without them even knowing it. And so you think you own your home, but someone else has gone in and purchased the deed and you don't even know what happened. And then they come in and evict you from your home and say, no, we own this house. And you've paid the mortgage over this house over decade and decades and decades. And now you have nothing to leave to your children. This is happening in a rampant way. Activists are now coming in and trying to stop these deed thefts. These are companies, LLCs, that come in and they purchase the deeds to people's homes so that they can get these brownstones that are all now worth at least $1 million. If you have a brownstone that you bought for, $100,000.
Joy, really? $1 million is what they would call low income, okay?
Low, yeah.
Please.
And on top of that, the barriers to entry to buying real estate in New York are high because any home that's priced over $1 million, you pay a special tax on that. So it becomes only rich people can afford to even get a mortgage. And these brownstones, $1 million is low. Most of these brownstones, we went back to Fort Greene and walked around my old block, which again, I had a park view. I was on Washington Park Street and it was overlooking the park. Those homes, we walked into one on the corner, literally across from where the projects were at the time when I was living there. And it was $13,000 a month. That's crazy. Like, why would somebody pay? And you get, obviously you get the whole brownstone, $13,000 a month, but that's crazy. I mean, that's actually crazy. Like who can afford that? And so what ends up happening is a lot of these apartment and homeowners in New York, what they do is they say the rent's now $8,000 a month for a 4-bedroom. And the only way that any normal person can live there is like 6 people move in. And then their parents all split the rent for their young people. It's crazy. Somebody's saying Atlanta is broken. See, Atlanta used to be affordable. So I'm scared if Atlanta is not good. All right, so let's, somebody says here, Karen Stukes says, Mamdani's got his work cut out for him. Absolutely. We have to start rejecting our abusers. This country is a human shit farm where billionaires grow their wealth. Yeah, that is true. Jason, are you keeping an eye on the
I am. He's
feed?
not, yeah,
they haven't started yet. So they're running a little late. I will tell you, and whenever we get a chance, we're going to try to go back to our team that's live over at the block, it's like a block party. But yes, what's happening is, and we talk about this a lot on the Joy Reid Show, we're going to talk about it a lot more in 2026. It's just one story. The super rich are destroying this country through their abject greed. Everywhere they go, they wreck shop. There's nowhere where I can say that billionaires are making the world better. I'm sorry to say. They're not out here just doing charitable stuff and making foundations that feed the poor. No, what they're doing is they're dragging every penny, dime, and farthing out of this country for themselves. It looks like Nitha is back live again. Let's pop over to Nitha, Jason, and see what she's got. Uh-oh. Okay, we're gonna let her try again. She popped in and then she popped out. We're gonna try to keep you guys apprised of what's happening live at the block party for Zohran Mamdani. But yes, this is the city that I think is the most indicative of what's happening really to this country, which is that the super rich, the billionaire class, have decided they own the country belongs to them. Everyone else is just meat. Everyone else is just workers for them to get as cheaply as possible. They don't care about human rights. They don't care about people being able to live decent lives. They just want unending wealth, and they don't want to pay taxes. They don't want to be regulated, and they don't want to be told what to do by the government. They want the complete freedom.
Okay.
Here's Nitha. All right, Nitha Khan, what do we got? Nitha, what do we got?
Hi, Joy. Okay, so we're back again here at City Hall, and they're beginning momentarily. As you can see, we're going to try to pan around a little bit and show you. We got Wanji and Winnie here doing.
We would ask that everyone please take their seat
to the brim,
if you are
especially on that side.
There are seats on the house west side.
It's a big
of the
party. They're actually playing music from my era, so I'm very happy. We just had Mary J. Blige, really on it.
Of the
So
building.
completely
Thank you.
feeling the music. Wonderful, feeling out here excitement. Everybody's just enthused. It's just a wonderful party here as the new mayor is about to be officially, well, technically it's already officially sworn in, but this is now the ceremony that is going to commence shortly. So coming to you live from City Hall in the freezing cold, we are here on the Joy Reid Show. Woo!
Thank you so much. Yes, we've got our live correspondents on the scene at City Hall. Nitha, Wanji, and Winnie are out there doing the thing, braving the cold for you all, because we want to make sure that you guys get the latest and greatest. You saw the size of those crowds. I think people are just excited to see somebody who's there willing to fight for the people. And I will say that the Orange Man, this is what he promised, right? To fight for the people. Ooh, Jason, it looks like a good picture there. Can we pop over to that one? Let's see what we got there. Look. Ooh, we're just looking. Okay, that Wanji cam or is that Nitha cam?
It's Wanji cam.
Wanji cam. And Wanji, what you got? Talk about it. What you got?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, yes. It's
You're
great. I mean, it's
experience.
freezing, but these people said, look, we're going to brave the cold and we're going to do it for a reason, and a really good one, and there's no better one than swearing in our youngest mayor, Kwame Zohran Mamdani.
Now, the East African in you came out. You're going to reverse it.
And you know this. So, yes, no, it's amazing. I mean, it's a really good feeling. Just like Nitha said, people are excited. They're excited to be here. We can't wait to really get up and close and personal and talk to a lot of the New York residents that are also out here that are bearing the cold. So after the ceremony, we're going to come straight live to you guys, front and center, and be able to have our little hearts with the New York residents that are really ready for this mayor.
Love it. And so, I mean, have you guys encountered people feeling, restless in these big crowds? What is the mood that you're seeing among the people there, Wanj?
Not at all. I mean, restlessness is not it. There's this unusual, I think you would say, feeling of togetherness. Like there's this hope, there's this purposefulness that we are here to really celebrate something pretty epic for New York that hasn't happened in a very, very long time. And that's what you feel. And people are excited. We're excited about what New York is going to look like. And we're excited about what the future is going to hold for the city. I think the people are ready. We're ready, and it's time.
Yes, we
Thank
are.
you, Wanj.
We are ready. We are. Here's Nitha. Nitha wants to add one more
I was
thing.
just saying, we are so ready, Joy. And, it's so historic, especially for the Muslim community of New York City. And, Zohran Mamdani faced an intense, as you know, campaign of Islamophobia, hatred, xenophobia against him. But he still thrived. New Yorkers still elected him. And now he's officially going to be the mayor, making history for this community, which I never thought I would see in my lifetime. It's an amazing moment. We played it off into Barack Obama, and it's that level, and he's rising strong. So let's see where he goes next, even after this.
I was going to ask you, Nitha, your family, can you just give us your personal, I'm going to let you get personal for a moment. How is your family reacting to this man becoming mayor?
Completely excited. I mean, family around the world literally text me when you won or WhatsApp message me, and they're like, "Oh my God, we're so proud. We're so happy for you." Almost like I got elected, and I was like, "Guys, it's not me. It's not me." But that's how elated and excited they were. I mean, it's like a huge sense of pride, connection, just feeling proud to see somebody reach that level. Especially when we do live in a country where you have the president of the United States who campaigned on anti-Muslim sentiment from the beginning when he came, even before he came down those steps in it was 2015, where he was called for total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the country. And now you have a Muslim who's about to be the mayor of New York City, who already is technically. And it's wonderful. And it's great to see, we're at that moment where there's a lot of push and pull going on. And it's great to see young people, especially, in a diverse coalition that elected him and pushes for change and wants progress and wants to see a new day. So I'm all for it. As you know, Joy, it's a fantastic moment for us to be here.
Absolutely. Okay, pass the mic to Wanji because I got to ask her about the Africans, because I know the Africans claim him too. Talk about your African family members because I know you claim.
They are jumping for joy. Everyone. This is a big. Oh, wait, 1 second. We're about to start.
Okay.
additional seats.
Yeah, we probably have to get, we're
All
probably
right.
having to have to sit down. We have
Okay.
to start, we have to get
Go
back to
sit
you
down.
guys.
Building.
But we will
Again,
check back in.
more
This
seats
is
are
the
available
Joy Reid Show,
House
JR's correspondent
west
team,
side of the
reporting
building.
live from
Thank
the
you.
Mamdani inauguration.
All right. Thank y'all. Okay, we'll catch you guys later.
They shut
Oh,
us
wait,
out.
one more. The Team JRS team live on the scene. Look, we're doing new things in 2026, including making sure that we bring you all of the live moments. And we have our correspondents out there doing the darn thing to make sure that you are fully informed and that you get it firsthand. You do not have to go to mainstream media to get the firsthand view of what is happening in the world, in our country. This is what we're doing. This is Owen Bernardi said Joy is bringing it similar to Don Lemon. Listen, we are all a family, and this is how we do. We came from, Don and I both came from traditional media, so we understand the system of what people are looking for when it comes to media. You want not just information or the chat, you also want the live events. You want to see what's happening live, and so we want to make sure that we are bringing that to you and that we are giving you those live moments. And so our correspondents, and I will tell you, let me tell you guys how dedicated Team TJRS correspondents, Wanji, Nitha, and Winnie are. They were here at the New Year's party last night and then road dogged it to New York to make, in the wee hours of this morning, to make sure that they were in the press media line. And big ups to the Mamdani team for making sure that they had a specific slot of entries for new media. They made sure that new media was taken care of. They didn't just hand out press slots to, CNN and Ms. Now and Fox, et cetera, and to WNYC, et cetera. They handed out a specific set of slots for new media because they recognize that new media is where people are increasingly going to get unfiltered, real news without the corporate filter. We got Thinking Ahead. Would you and Don Lemon come this summer for a live broadcast? Tell me where that is. Put that in the chat where you want to see us come together, because we and Jim Acosta, we are looking to be your live events team. So when you guys want to see, when there are important live events like No King's Day, we come together, all three of our shows, the Jim Acosta Show, the Don Lemon Show, and the Joy Reid Show. We come together as a super group. We're like Voltron. We come together, we put it all together, and we make sure that each of our audiences gets the opportunity to get that breaking news. And we work together the same way that each of us were accustomed to doing at our traditional media jobs. So we're not allowing you all to miss a thing. You're never going to miss anything when you are taking in your news from new media, because we're going to bring you all of the things that you got from traditional media.
We in these streets.
We in these streets. Just without the corporate filter. That's the key. Happy New Year as well. To Cheryl's Counts, thank you very much. We appreciate the $5 in the tiller, and congrats to our new mayor. I think people are really excited, Jason. I think this is an exciting thing for a lot of people, even if you don't live in New York.
No, the whole point is it feels like change is coming around the corner. You know what I mean? So let's hope, this momentum keeps on going. This should be a good year if we make it positive, guys. We got work to do. Everybody should know their assignment. Let's get to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And the good
11 months will be here in no time. Come on, guys. We got work to do. Let's change this whole entire scenery.
And by the way, here's the other thing that's really important. 2026 is a midterm election year. And one of the reasons that we wanted to focus on this Zohran Mamdani, elevation to mayor of New York City, again, probably the most powerful mayoral job in the country, the seat of America, the financial capital of the United States. He's now mayor of that. Thank you for the Happy New Year. Love, Megan. And for the $49.99, Jason, that deserves a round of applause. That's a number one member there, a Team TJRS member. Megan, thank you very much. We appreciate y'all. Thank you. And it says here that she says, Joy, Jason, and TJRS, you watch Jen and Pumps keep me sane. Listen, and of course, if you are not familiar with Jen and Pumps, that is Jennifer Welch and the great Pumps from I've Had It, the I've Had It podcast, additional friends of ours. And yes, we all kind of work together. And Wajahat Ali, who is another great friend of the show. And you're going to want to subscribe to all of our things. You're going to want to do that not only on YouTube, but also on Substack. We all do sort of a dual thing where we do Substack and YouTube to make sure that we're covering everyone. Some people are more readers. They like to read their news. Some people like to watch it. They like to YouTube it. So we make sure we kind of cover it all. We want to make sure.
We can't forget Mehdi.
And we cannot forget Mehdi Hassan and Zateo, which has done huge things this year. I also want to big up Contraband Camp. If you guys are not familiar with Contraband Camp, it's over at Substack. It's Michael Harriot, one of the most brilliant writers in the country, Black AF History, which has been on the New York Times bestseller list about 18 times. It like goes back on the New York Times bestseller list like monthly.
Brother
Roland Martin. Let's not leave out Uncle Roro. Uncle Roro, 1.8 million subscribers. Whenever Mediaite and all these Fox fan sites do their lists of the biggest podcasts, they never list Roland. They always leave him out, but he's got 1.8 million subscribers. He's been doing this longer than any of us, longer than me and Don combined. He's been doing his independent media thing for a really long time. Pumps and Jen also, they are incredible, incredible people. And the great thing about new media is, unlike traditional media where we're all rival networks, right? Like, Abby Phillip and I are friends, but I would never be able to be on her show. Like, when Don had a book out, he had to get permission from the bosses at CNN just to come promote his book on Ms. Now, the artist formerly known as MSNBC, because it's like a whole corporate rivalry thing. We don't have that in new media. We love Midas Touch. We work with them. Katie Fang is over in the Midas Network. She can come on here. She doesn't need permission from anybody. Ben and them don't have to ask them if she can come on. We can work with Rick Wilson, who's got his own thing. You should also be subscribing to that. The Lincoln Project folks, we work with all of them. And the great thing about new media is
even the Bulwark is a whole thing.
The Bulwark, Tim Miller and them.
It's a big collaboration of like-minded people.
It's like-minded people that the thing we have in common is that we actually care about human beings and democracy. Thank you for the $10, Gail Lewis. We appreciate that, 1765. Because we actually are just the ones who care about this country as a multiracial democracy. We don't want to see one religion triumph over the others. We don't want to see one group ethnically triumph over the others. We believe in full equality, and we believe everyone should be able to be at the table. We believe the team should be diverse. It should be all the races, all the gender groups, all of the gender, expressions. It should be everybody, race, creed, or color. We don't care. We're the side that actually believes in that. The other side is this white Christian nationalist sort of weirdo kind of coalition that just cares about billionaires having and everybody else not eating. Everybody should get to eat. Everybody should get to be at the table. Everybody should get to have their history affirmed. Everybody should get to have their stories told. Nobody should be erased out of history, except for, guess who you should not have monuments to? The people who fought against us in the Civil War. Okay. I don't think we should be bigging up the people who actually literally fought us in the Civil War. That would be our difference between us. Happy New Year as well to Dennis Weeks. Thank you very much. Somebody says, I hate watching Trump though. What's one of the things that's going to be interesting is watching how Trump interacts with the new mayor of New York City, who is doesn't seem like he's somebody who's going to take a lot of shit from Trump.
Joy, could I just say something?
Yes.
Last night, right, somebody came up to me and said, Jason, do me a favor, right? When Joy gets an itch to put Trump on the show, could you tell her no? I'm like, bro, listen, I feel the same way you do, right? But unfortunately, he makes news, and that's what journalists do. She has to cover it. Bear with it, people. Bear with it.
I used to describe, back when I was at Ms. Now, the artist formerly known as MSNBC, I used to describe what our job was. This is when I was on my weekend show, AM Joy. I used to describe us as a baby monitor. And the reason you have a baby monitor is that the baby does have to sleep. You don't necessarily want the baby to sleep in your room because the baby needs to develop an independent spirit, but you got to watch the baby. You can't just leave, shut the door to the baby's room and don't watch him. And Trump, unfortunately, is our little bastard baby. And we have to watch him. And as much as I despise having to listen to the sound of his weird sounding voice. I don't like looking at his orange face and his bruises and his cankles, and, you know, his weird friendships with Jeffrey Epstein grosses me out. And the fact that he had a modeling agency and then he was friends with all the other modeling agency people and was peeping at the teenage girls naked. I'm grossed out by these people. But we have to watch them because they're in charge of the country. And if we don't pay attention, this particular baby will burn the house down. So we are a baby monitor. It's not that we enjoy talking about Trump. I would love to not talk about him at all.
Do you see this comment? Just tell us about Trump. Don't play his videos. I don't like to hear his voice.
That's, you know what, we appreciate.
That is the biggest complaint that I hear all the time.
Okay, I think that's fair.
But listen,
that's fair.
We have to do our jobs, people. We have to do it. So, you know, I agree. We shouldn't play 3-4 minutes of him. I 100% agree. And I got to interject. So I say, Joy, I've had enough. I'm shaking.
Yeah.
So let's change
the reason, and I will give you, we're going to take you, what we love to, this is the other thing I love about new media. We get to take you behind the scenes because this used to be our big fight at MSNBC. I got in a lot of trouble one time because during the Women's March, remember the Women's March when Donald Trump, you know, there was a huge Women's March against him when he was elected the first time. And the same day of the Women's March, Donald Trump was at the National Cathedral for a church service. And we had a difference of opinion, me and management, as to whether we should cover this huge march. We were outside at the artist formerly known as MSNBC on this deck where you could oversee the Capitol. You could see everything, and you could see gathering these huge crowds of women. You could just see them. They were gathering with the little pink pussy hats, like they were gathering, and you could just see them from where we were. And you saw this huge crowd gathering, but at the same time, we can speed up his voice. I actually like that idea. Maybe we'll speed up his voice. Jason, you're being asked, can you speed up his voice?
That will make it worse. I won't even.
No,
respond.
speeding up is better because you get through it quicker.
Jesus.
But so we were, you know, and I'm like, we need to cover this march. This march looks like it's going to be huge, but management wanted to cover Trump in the church service. And I was like, so these were the kind of fights and tensions we would have about how much to cover Trump. I never wanted to go live to Trump. I was like, if he's doing something, I don't want to go live to him. I would rather we monitor what he's doing and then we just tell people what he did. And we also, to me, had to not just tell people what he did, but we need to play some of it. And this is the reason, and you guys can disagree with me. Feel free to debate me on this in comments. I believe you have to play him. You can't just describe what he did, because if I describe what Trump did, I'm going to sound normal to you. I'm going to sound normal.
So true.
I'm going to sane wash him because I sound normal.
If you deliver your commentary on Trump in such a dignified, you know, journalistic way, he's going to come across looking
normal.
Legit.
But when you play, and to me, my problem with the way the mainstream media does Trump is that they play snippets of Trump that also sound normal. They cut out the parts where he sounds batshit crazy or senile. I would rather play as much as y'all hate it, we got to play longer clips of the bastard, baby. Because if you play a long clip of him and don't cut it, don't edit it, just play a longer clip, then you're going to force people to hear what he actually sounds like. No one who watches Fox knows what Trump sounds like. None of them do. Because what they get are very clipped out pieces of him where he sounds normal. They refuse to actually play him the way he sounded. I'll give you an example. During the election, Donald Trump did this town hall. Do you remember this? Where the black guy that sits on the comfy couch was leading a town hall and he had all these black men. Y'all remember this? It was black men, and I think it was maybe a mixed crowd, but they were trying to show that the blacks love Trump. So they're doing this town hall. I don't think it was all black men, but it was like in a barbershop-y kind of setting.
It was whack.
But the Fox cut of it made it look like Donald Trump had a totally normal conversation with these men. But the real unedited clips of it were batshit crazy. He sounded like he didn't know where he was, like he didn't know what time. He sounded senile. And so the problem, and he would complain that Kamala Harris was getting edited so she would sound like she was saying other than a word salad. But her clips were never cut like that. People would just play her clips just from start to finish. With Trump, they would chop it up so that he sounded normal. And so to me, you unfortunately have to, this is the president of the United States. You can't ignore him. And also, he won't let you ignore him because he keeps interfering in shit. You can't even talk about the Kennedy Center now without having to explain that he slapped his name on it illegally. You can't talk about the White House without explaining that this fool knocked down the whole East Wing. He's injected himself into our finances, into our economic plans that are supposed to just be the Treasury Secretary. He is literally minting coins with his face on them like he's Nero from the Roman Empire to celebrate and commemorate America's 250th birthday. This man is insane. This is a crazy person. We are the baby monitor. And so we unfortunately, yes, he knows how to flood the zone, as Lorena Taylor is saying. We unfortunately have to monitor the crazy so that you will know what's coming. If we just ignored him, then you wouldn't know what was coming. We have to let you know what's coming. But I do agree that Trump says, I go to you and Don to keep me updated. Trump raises my blood pressure. I don't want to see videos of Joe and Mika. Oh, I have to mute his voice because he literally makes me sick. So here's what I think. I love the constructive comments. This is the other great thing about new media is that we can take comments from you guys directly, which I love about this.
And
it's
the
like
great
talk
thing,
radio.
I want the guys to know out there that we do debate this stuff
We
when
do.
we have our staff meetings, and I am one to say, do we have to play him today? But I agree why we do it. So believe me, I don't want to hear his damn voice either. Trust me.
I'll tell you what, when we did the thing where the Women's March was happening, you know, the bosses wanted me to like talk over him in church. And I was like, you talk over him in church. I'm not talking over him. Then y'all want to watch him? Watch him. Watch him sit there and look like he was falling asleep. And that's what he looked like. He sat there and we played that. And then the Women's March turned out to be the biggest story of the day. It was the biggest story of the day. And then for the rest of the afternoon, everyone else was straight on the Women's March because him being in church didn't mean nothing. It was nothing. But it's just, this was just a difference of opinion that I was the person saying, please don't go live to Trump. Like that was me. I was the don't go live to Trump person. But what I do agree that you have to play him, because one of the things that the left, I think, made a mistake on, the left did not understand his appeal and so didn't know how to fight him. One other story. I need to read this story. I know we're talking about the mayor of New York City, and we are waiting for their live stream to start. Just
waiting.
letting you know, we're still waiting. We're monitoring their live stream. Donald Trump, not only did he attempt to steal the Kennedy Center from the late President John F. Kennedy, Donald Trump went on a deranged social media attack on the Kennedys, literally in the mere hours following the death of Caroline Kennedy's daughter, Tatiana Schlossberg. He goes on social media to mock the Kennedys shortly after this poor young lady died. Caroline Kennedy, her daughter, Tatiana Schlossberg, who's the granddaughter of President John F. Kennedy Jr., passed away at just 35 years of age on December 30th. Just over a month after publicly sharing that she had been diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia. I'm reading from People magazine. The news was shared by the social media accounts for the JFK Library Foundation on behalf of Tatiana's family, which included her husband, Dr. George Moran, and their young children. This lady was 35, so you can imagine how young their kids are. Their children, Edwin and Josephine. Our beautiful Tatiana passed away this morning. She will always be in our hearts, read the Post, which was signed by George, Edwin, and Josephine Moran, Ed, Caroline, Jack, Rose, and Rory. And, you know, the Kennedy family has had just innumerable tragedies. You think about all the tragedies where people think it's like a curse. They've had so many tragedies. So many Kennedys have died young, either assassinated, plane crash, cancer, you name it. They faced all this tragedy. So this is a family that's had a lot of heartbreak and a lot of power and a lot of prestige, but also a lot of heartbreak. Here's what People magazine says. Trump did not directly mention Tatiana's death in his social media deluge following her death. Instead, he shared screenshots of MAGA supporters mocking the famous political family for their recent responses to his decision to add his name to the Kennedy Center, an historic performance venue in Washington, D.C., which was dedicated as a memorial to JFK following his assassination in Dallas, Texas in 1963. He wrote, the Kennedy Center have long neglected the Kennedy Center, BTW, in one of his posts. They don't raise money for it. They never show up. And the only Kennedy who has been there recently is a member of Trump's cabinet, the one he's got on a leash, RFK Jr. The leash thing is what the young Mr. Schlossberg, one of the grandsons, describes it. The Trumps, he says, have always been supporters of the arts. The Kennedys are supporters of the Kennedys, read another. This is disgusting. More from People magazine. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt announced on Thursday that the board of the historic venue had, quote unquote, voted unanimously to rename the building to the Trump Kennedy Center. The following day, work crews added the Donald Trump and above the previously existing lettering, which read the John F. Kennedy Memorial Center for the Performing Arts. By the way, they didn't even use the same font, so it looks crazy. I mean, absolutely crazy. But we know, because we played you the video on the Joy Reid Show, that Ohio Representative Joyce Beatty, who serves as an ex officio member of the Kennedy Center board, went on social media to say, hold up, the fix was in. They muted her microphone and only allowed the board members that Trump put on the board to vote. No one other than the Trump appointees was allowed to vote. The Congress is who controls the Kennedy Center, not the Trump family. But Donald Trump, like he's done with all of these buildings he has all over the country, just slapped his name on another man's monument. The Kennedys apparently are livid. They are disgusted by it. They should be disgusted by it. The idea that Donald Trump would attack them just after they lost their daughter because he's mad that people aren't celebrating the fact that he slapped his name on the Kennedy Center. And that, by the way, the Kennedy Center honors with his name slapped on there was one of the lowest rated Kennedy Center honors in history. The Kennedy Center is losing money. The Kennedy Center is losing artists who are canceling, including a Christmas Eve and a New Year's performance. Artists are refusing to perform there. People are moving their shows out of there. And so the reality is he's killed the Kennedy Center. He's destroyed it.
There?
Hell no.
Of course.
And I think everyone should boycott the Kennedy Center. Nobody should set foot in the Kennedy Center either to buy a ticket or to perform, as long as his hideous name is slapped on the front of that building. His hideous cabinet hanging out there and disrespecting it with their presence. I say boycott the Kennedy Center. What is that music? Oh, is that the music for the venue? You want to go? Let's go back and see what we got live. I think we might have some live stuff going on over at the City Hall venue where we are waiting for.
The only thing is, Joy, I can't play because they got music.
They got music playing. Okay,
so I could just show you the stills and wait till he starts talking.
Okay, all right. Let's show the stills and wait till he starts talking, because we are about to witness the public.
Go ahead, Joy. Continue
inaugural.
Go ahead and continue talking.
Of Zohran Mamdani. No problem. We're waiting for that to happen. But yes, the bottom line is, and this is actually an important story that actually relates to what we're doing today, waiting for Zohran Mamdani to be publicly inaugurated. He's already mayor, but he's going to be publicly inaugurated. Donald Trump in New York City. This is a very New York City story. People think Donald Trump owns dozens and dozens and dozens of properties and buildings. He doesn't. Most of the buildings, that say Trump Tower, Donald Trump just gets a fee to slap his name on someone else's creation. He gets a fee to put his name on the buildings. They're not his. And this is his tradition. He waits for other people to create, and then he puts his name on it. This is the intro video. I think we can play this.
There were many who said that we would not crack 5%. And now here we are today. We stand here with a remarkable opportunity to create a better New York. It's yours. This city belongs to you.
Good afternoon and Happy New Year, everyone. My name is
New York City Police Department and the Fire Department of New York.
and be the announcer this afternoon. Best know me.
Okay, I think we can go to Nitha real quick. Can we add Nitha real quick and maybe mute this one while we're waiting for that to start? All right, Nitha, what have you got going on? What are you seeing?
So, okay, sorry. Now we gotta be quiet. The program actually just started, so we were trying to
get
whisper.
introduction of Mamdani.
Okay.
They're doing the flag ceremony. Let me pan around so you can see it.
As we rise for the national anthem.
As you can
There we
see, it
go.
is packed to the brim.
Act.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed
It's actually Jumani Williams. I'm
like
just letting y'all know.
nights last
That's Jumanji.
broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, stay, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free in the home of the brave?
So the program is beginning. You saw Attorney General Tish James, Bernie Sanders, of course, Zohran Mamdani, his wife, and in the, I don't know if you could see in the AMC now is coming out. So in the, if you can see, somebody is holding up a picture of him who was killed by Israel.
My name is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and it is my deep honor and privilege to welcome you to the inauguration of our
Yeah,
new
the audio
mayor
we're
of New
hearing
York
is from
City,
Netta's phone.
Got it. Oh, wow.
Mamdani. We gather here today to celebrate the beginning.
Just to let you guys know, the audio we was hearing is from Netta's phone.
It's from Netta's phone. Got it.
What you see on screen now is the audio, the national anthem. So once that's finished, I can put it live, okay?
Got it.
So the audio you're going to hear until you actually see Mamdani is going to be coming from Netta's phone.
Okay.
We also celebrate the hundreds and thousands of public servants and city leaders getting to work today, from our sanitation workers and librarians to our commissioners, deputy mayors, and our school's chancellor, as they care for our city and its people in the coming weeks, months, and years. Together, this ascent marks a new era for New York City, led by a historic new mayor in Zohran Mamdani, guided by his dedication to a working class that makes our beautiful city run. Importantly, I also ask that we consider today an inauguration for each one of us, too, the nearly 8.5 million New Yorkers who make up the greatest city on earth. Because it is the people of New York. I also ask that we consider today an inauguration for each one of us, too, the nearly 8.5 million New Yorkers who make up the greatest city on earth. Because it is the people of New York City who have chosen historic, ambitious leadership in response to untenable and unprecedented times. New York, we have chosen courage over fear. We have chosen prosperity for the many over spoils for the few. And when the entrenched ways would rather have us dig in our feet and seek refuge in the past, we have chosen instead to turn towards making a new future for all of us. In Zohran Mamdani, we have chosen a mayor who is relentlessly dedicated to making life not just possible, but aspirational for working people. New York City has chosen the ambitious pursuit of universal childcare, affordable rent and housing, and clean and dignified public transit for all. And we have chosen that over the distractions of bigotry and the barbarism of extreme income inequality. We have chosen this path because we know that it's the right thing to do, it's the smart thing to do, and that if we can make it here, we can make it anywhere. New York City, this is an inauguration for all of us, because choosing this mayor and this vision is an ambitious pursuit. It calls on all of us to return to public life en masse. Now is the time for us to turn towards our neighbors, stand with them, and return to community life. A city for all will require all of us to fill our streets, our schools, our houses of faith, our PTAs, and our block associations as we support this mayor in making an affordable city a reality for all of us. Zohran Mamdani will be the first Muslim mayor of our great city. He will be our first immigrant mayor in over a century. And he will be the youngest mayor of New York City in generations. But most importantly, Zohran will be a mayor for all of us. With that, let us extend our deepest well wishes and support to Zohran, his wife Rama, and his family, as well as those of our public advocate, Jumani Williams, and controller, Mark Levine. We send you, your spouses and families, and all your loved ones, all the support in the world as you embark on this great pursuit of a better city and future for all. Felicidades.
So that was Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, obviously doing an introduction. Now I'm going to note that what you're also going to see today is Bernie Sanders will administer the oath of office. There he is. Let's watch Bernie Sanders. Is he taking the stage? Let's see who that is.
That ain't Bernie.
That ain't Bernie. Who is that? Okay, all right. So let me let you guys know some of the sort of the details of what you saw. DJ MoMA is the one who's been welcoming the crowd, playing the music, playing all the hits. DJ MoMA told the local media that, quote unquote, the bro, Zohran Mamdani, hollered, and I'm on my way back to New York.
Most merciful of those who show mercy, we turn to you on this day from our city with hopeful hearts. Thank you for this moment. Thank you for the amazing individuals you have gathered here, diverse in color, language, journey, and name, but united in purpose, stitched together by shared hopes, all yearning to build something meaningful, lasting, and rooted in love, dignity, respect, and justice, no longer for the few, but for all. We come before you mindful that moments like this do not arrive on their own. They are carried forward by sacrifice, by organizing, by courage, by people who refuse to accept that the way things were was the way they had to remain. We come knowing that this day stands on the shoulders of so many who were told to wait their turn, to quiet their demands, to lower their expectations, but instead chose to believe that another New York was possible. We recognize that belief is not abstract. It was practiced by tenants organizing against displacement, by workers demanding fair wages, by parents advocating for their children's futures, by communities who kept showing up even when the odds said they should not. We gather today with hearts shaped by this city, by its noise in its neighborhoods, by its subways and sanctuaries, by the dreams carried in many languages and the prayers whispered on crowded blocks. We thank you for New York City, for a place that has taught the world how difference can become strength, how survival can become solidarity, how strangers can become neighbors, and for being a place that taught us that a young immigrant, democratic socialist Muslim can be bold enough to run and brave enough to win. Not by abandoning conviction, but by standing firmly within it. Not by shrinking who he is, but by trusting that authenticity can move a city towards justice. We thank you for the beautiful diversity of this city, for a people formed across continents and generations, across race and religion, culture and class. Teach us to never see that diversity as something to manage or fear, but as a sacred trust, a collective inheritance that expands our moral imagination and strengthens our shared future. On this day of transition and responsibility, we ask you to bless this moment of leadership and all who are entrusted with the weight of public service. Grant wisdom to Mayor Zohran Mamdani and remind him that leadership is not about power, but about proximity to the people who struggle, to the voices too often ignored, to the lives behind the statistics. Keep him close to the realities of this city, to the family doubling up in a one-bedroom apartment because rent has outpaced wages, to the home health aide commuting hours each day to care for others while struggling to afford care for themselves, to the public school student navigating overcrowded classrooms, to the small business owner choosing between closing their doors or passing rising costs onto neighbors who already have too little. Bless him with the courage to remain grounded, the humility to keep learning, and the strength to lead with principle, even when the pressure to compromise is loud. Let his leadership reflect the movements and communities that made this moment possible. And never let him forget that this office exists to serve the people, not to rise above them. We lift up all those who came together to make what many said could never happen. Organizers and volunteers, neighbors who spoke to neighbors, young people who believe their voices matter, elders who remembered past struggles and recognized this moment as part of a longer arc. Bless those who knocked on doors in the cold, who stood on street corners with clipboards and hope, who had difficult conversations rooted in love, and who chose participation over despair. Let the spirit that carried this moment forward not fade after today, but deepen and always endure. Make this city affordable for the families who built it and the workers who sustain it. Let no one have to choose between rent and dignity, between medicine and meals, between staying and surviving. We lift before you those living paycheck to paycheck in the shadow of unimaginable wealth. Those working multiple jobs yet still one emergency away from crisis. Those whose labor keeps the city moving, but whose lives feel increasingly pushed to the margins. Let justice not be a slogan, but a structure. Let equity not be a promise, but a practice. Let policy be shaped by compassion and budgets reflective of our values. Protect the most vulnerable amongst us, our children and elders, our immigrants and asylum seekers, our unhoused neighbors, our workers, our artists, our caregivers, and the students who keep the city alive. Heal what has been broken by neglect and greed. Soften hearts hardened by fear. Replace cynicism with courage and despair with collective hope. And let that hope be something we practice daily, not something we push back. Let it live in our policies, our streets, our schools, and our systems. Teach us that hope is not passive. It is built through accountability, through care, and through a refusal to abandon one another. Remind all New Yorkers, those born here and those who arrived yesterday, that the city belongs to all of us and that our liberation is bound together. Help us show up for one another, not just in moments of crisis, but in the long, patient work of care. Teach us that the city we pray for is the city we must also build. And make this administration and all of us who call this place home a means of mercy, a force for fairness, and a reflection of your justice in this world. Let this moment be not an ending, but a beginning. Let what was once thought impossible become the standard by which we measure our future. And let New York City continue to show the world what is possible when people believe in one another and continue to show that respect, dignity, and compassion are no longer for the few, but for the all. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Well done. Well done, Imam.
Jason, if I could just say real quick while we wait for the next speaker, it is the most New York and diversity thing ever that when the imam is giving the blessing, you have the Baptists in the back going, help yourself. Hold on now. Say it. You got the call and response happening. The imam's like, this is not how it normally goes down at the mosque, but it's how it goes down in New York City because it is the most diverse city in the country. It represents all of America so beautifully. A lot of folks in the chat saying they just love hearing the kindness, and they love seeing the diversity. That was a beautiful moment. Okay, let's go back and listen. And let me let you all know a little bit more. I'm going to talk over this just so that we make sure that YouTube doesn't get mad at us for playing. This is not us playing the music, by the way, YouTube. What we're seeing is, so we had DJ MoMA who welcomed the New Yorkers, playing the music there that you're hearing. That's DJ MoMA who's doing that. We had Javier Munoz. That is who was performing the national anthem. If you were wondering who that was Javier Munoz, who you will know from In the Heights and Hamilton. Mandy Patinkin is now singing with the PS22 chorus of Staten Island, Somewhere Over the Rainbow. So let's listen. Mandy Patinkin.
When all the clouds darken up the skyway, there's a rainbow, a highway to be found, leading from your window pane to a place behind the sun, just a step beyond the rain. Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I heard of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. Someday I'll wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me, somewhere over the rainbow. Bluebirds fly, birds fly over the rainbow. Why then, oh why can't I? If happy little bluebirds fly beyond the rainbow, why, oh why can't we?
So for those of you who may not know who Mandy Patinkin is, do you remember my favorite Rob Reiner film, The Princess Bride? My name is Inigo Montoya, you killed my father, prepare to die. My name is Inigo Montoya, you killed my father, prepare to die. That's Mandy Patinkin, Tony Award-winning actor. He's been in everything. He won his Tony for The Secret Garden. I believe that's where he got his Tony Award for. He's been in TV shows, Chicago Hope. He's been in Criminal Minds. He's won Emmys. But Princess Bride is my favorite Mandy Patinkin role. He's absolutely amazing. And he's been in Yentl. He's from Yentl. We love Mandy Patinkin. Okay, let's keep listening. This is the most New York thing ever, y'all.
Is Brooklyn in the house? Good afternoon and Happy New Year. I am so proud to be here today to usher in a new day for New York City. And today it is my honor and my privilege to swear in someone who has been a champion for tenants, a fearless fighter for working people in every corner of our city, my friend and the next controller of New York City, Mark Levine. It is truly my honor and my privilege to administer his oath of office. Controller-elect Levine, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Mark Levine, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of New York, and I will faithfully discharge the duties of the Controller of the City of New York according to the best of my ability. Congratulations, Mr. Controller. Wow.
All right, well, there's no going back. Give it up for the best Attorney General in America, Tish James. Give it up for the PS22 chorus, all the way from Staten Island to Staten Island in the house. The rest are stuck on the ferry. All right. Thank you to my wonderful family, my wife, Evelise, and our sons, Alejandro and Daniel. I love you so, so much. Thank you to my partners in city government, our new mayor, Zohran Mamdani, and public advocate, Jamani Williams. How remarkable is it that on these steps today, we have 3 swearings in, one by a leader using a Quran, one by a leader using a Christian Bible, and one by a leader using a Chumash, or Hebrew Bible. I am proud to live in a city where this is possible. Muy buenos días a todos y a todos. Me alegro que estén acá con nosotros. Lamento que están pasando tanto frío, pero ni modo. ברוכים הבאים לכולכם, איזה כיף שבאתם. Quiero puime edomazisas. Now, for those of you who do not know Spanish, Hebrew, or Greek, welcome, thank you, and please download Duolingo. Now, I know what you're all thinking. What the heck is a comptroller? Excellent question. This job is about ensuring that people who have spent their lives working for this city can retire with dignity. It's about ensuring that our budget reflects our values, that our government inspires the trust of its people. A comptroller also understands the consequences for working class families when they are excluded from our economic system. I have seen this in my own neighborhood of Washington Heights, where far too many families for far too long have been held back from achieving their dreams, blocked from banks, and forced to rely instead on pawn shops and loan sharks. Back in the 1990s, I founded a community credit union uptown to change this. This financial cooperative, owned by the community, has lent out over $100 million in small loans in the neighborhood with a 98% repayment rate, proving that when you give working people an opportunity, they will seize it. This is what our city must do now on a grand scale. Build an economy where we care for each other, where our prosperity is shared, where everyone has a fair shot. Our city today is booming for people at the top, but it's getting tougher and tougher for working families to pay their rent, to find a job with a living wage, and yes, Mr. Mayor, to find affordable childcare. A comptroller must use the tools of the office to close this gap, and I will. We will invest tens of millions of dollars in new units of affordable housing to build all over the 5 boroughs. We'll make sure that housing is actually built, no matter the opposition from entrenched constituencies. We'll use the powers of oversight in the comptroller's office to ensure that the city keeps its promises, that it delivers the highest quality city services, that every nonprofit with a city contract actually gets paid on time. Wow, very big applause line. Note that, Mr. Mayor. We got to work on that. We will secure full funding for legal services for New Yorkers facing eviction so that at last our city lives up to its obligations under our first in the nation right to counsel law for tenants. Right, Vanessa Gibson? You on board for that? We will invest in protecting our imperiled planet by accelerating our city's transition to green energy so that one day when we look at New York from above, we will see a city full of solar panels and trees. We will protect the immigrants of this city so that families are not ripped apart by masked, unnamed government agents. And we will seek to understand each other. Though we will not always see the world the same way, we can and must ensure that all New Yorkers feel safe and respected, whether they're entering a house of worship in public or saying the Salah prayer in our city government can and must of this moment. But to do that, we need city government, one that uses the tools of the modern era, a government freed from the worst limitations, one nimble enough to move fast of accelerating change and to capitalize on the new promises of technology while protecting against its. No other city on earth has this many languages and dreams in one place. Our task now is to ensure that this help open their first savings accounts. They try our dreams, a small business, a child's education, a home of their own. Today, you have entrusted me with something far greater, to safeguard the resources and the future of this entire city. I promise you, I will honor that trust every single day. Muchísimas gracias. Toda raba. Efkaristo poli. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Mark Levine, who is the new comptroller of the city of New York.
To recite his
That's great.
original, please welcome Cornelius Edie.
Hold on. Well, first of all, I want to thank the mayor. I want to thank the mayor and his staff for inviting me, for the honor of inviting me here to read this poem. This morning, when I woke up, my wife joked that sometime during the campaign, there was probably somebody who said, him? He'll get elected when hell freezes over. So here we are. And I really want to really just thank the biggest, greatest gift I think I've ever had was to be in the Blue Room this morning after doing sound check, because the energy and the recognition and the joy of this moment was incredible. I mean, this is it, isn't it? I mean, this is what this work has been about, right? And it was just wonderful to see people see that moment. I was reminded this morning that New York was the first capital of the United States. And it seems to me that this might be another kind of new beginning for a certain kind of energy that might be starts here and goes out across the country, the rest of the nation. So, though this is a New York poem, a New York-based poem, I'd like to dedicate this poem. I just retired. I'd like to dedicate this poem to my trans, queer, foreign students of color at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville. So they can see this is possible. The poem is called Proof. Proof. You have to imagine it. Who said you were too dark, too large, too queer, too loud? Who said you were too poor, too strange, too fat? You have to imagine it. Who said you must keep quiet? Who heard your story, then roll their eyes? Who tried to change your name to invisible? You've got to imagine. Who heard your name and refused to pronounce it? Who checked their watch and said, not now? James Baldwin wrote, "The place in which I'll fit will not exist until I make it." New York, city of invention, roiling town, refresher and renewer. New York, city of the real, where the canyons whisper in 100 tongues. New York, where your lucky self waits for your arrival, where there is always soil for your root. This is our time. The taste of us, the spice of us, the hollers and the rhythms and the beats of us, and the echo of our ancestors who made certain we know who we are. City of insistence, city of resistance. You have to imagine an army that wins without firing a bullet, a joy that wears down the rock of no. Up from insults, up from blocked doors, up from trick bags, up from fear, up from shame, up from the way it was done before. You have to imagine that space they said wasn't yours, that time they said you'd never own. The invisible city lit, on its way. This moment is our proof. Thank you.
To administer the oath of office to Public Advocate Jumanji Williams, welcome 3 New Yorkers who have been impacted by immigration enforcement in New York City. Josue Nicolno Amundrai, Amadou Lee, Asadu Diallo, and Rebecca Press.
Diversity, man. While they get to the stage, I just want to let you all know a little bit more about Cornelius Eady, born in 1954, American writer. And a lot of his work focuses on jazz. He's an original New Yorker. He's originally from Rochester. But okay, let's listen to these guys.
Good Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Amadou Lee, and I'm a Senegalese American, a proud New Yorker, and I am honored to be a naturalized American citizen. I came into this country in 2001 as a teenager. I was undocumented, with no one and nowhere to turn. Yet, I felt at home. As I walked through the city, the bright light seems to whisper in my ear, telling me, dream, Amadou, dream. You too, you belong here. But being undocumented meant living in fear. It meant being vulnerable. It meant facing deportation. However, after my life story made the front page of the New York Times, something extraordinary happened. People showed up, blue-collar workers, teachers, celebrities, even presidents. They too said that I belong here too. Because of them, I was allowed to stay here. Because of them, I was allowed to study. I was allowed to build a life. But every day, thousands of New Yorkers face the fear I once did without the spotlight. They fear being abducted, detained, and disappeared. With me today is Miss Aissatou Diallo and Mr. Perez. Miss Diallo has lived in the United States for over 20 years. This past Thanksgiving, she was abducted by ICE at LaGuardia Airport. She was shackled and detained. After decades of building a life here, her freedom was suddenly stripped away. Mr. Perez and his family fled Venezuela in search of safety to New York City. He and his partner and their 3 beautiful children were summoned to 26 Federal Plaza just before Christmas. Just before Christmas. Not knowing whether they would walk out together as a family. And standing beside each one, as he stood beside many New Yorkers, was public advocate Jumaane D. Williams. He used his position, he used his voice and his power, not for himself, but to defend people that are under attack, to speak to those whose voices are too often ignored. And because of that solidarity, because that leadership showed up, because the neighbors showed up, Miss Diallo and the Perez family can be here today with us. I would like to thank everyone who continued to stand with immigrant families in the face of fear and intimidation, and everyone who refused to look away. We are the proof that it matters. And we are reminded that advocacy can truly change lives. Because of the courage and compassion of New Yorkers, we stand here today at City Hall, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, we are proud to swear in the people's voice, the people's champion, our public advocate, Mr. Jumaane D. Williams. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for him.
Please raise your right hand. I, Jumani D. Williams,
I, Jumani D. Williams,
do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the Office of Public Advocate for the City of New York,
of the Office of Public Advocate for the City of New York,
according to the best of my abilities.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
If y'all are unfamiliar with Jumani Williams, he is a longtime activist, very well-known and respected activist in the city, now taking a role in city government as well. He's a pretty dynamic brother. So this is going to be a pretty incredible, diverse administration coming to power in New York City. Let's listen to Jumani.
Zohran, Mark, we did it. We're here. Thanks to everybody out here. Thank y'all. Peace and blessing, love and light as we begin a new term, a new era for New York City. Thank you, everyone. I want to thank Amadou and his inspiring family for being here at this ceremony in New York. I'm a son of immigrants myself. My parents came over from Grenada over 50 years ago. I was just sworn in on my late father's Bible. My mother is here today. I'm so proud to have my family and my wife and my children and my sister and my mom, everyone standing with theirs. Their stories perfectly capture this moment for the city. The challenges we face, the hardships we endure, and the hope that persists. Those realities are often in tension because this is a time and a place of contradictions. One where even as the federal government drives us to despair, local leadership can invite inspiration. When this celebration at City Hall is only blocks from tribulation at Federal Plaza. When the relief that these families are still united comes as so many are being separated. And this sense of contradiction carries across the 5 boroughs. This is a city of enormous wealth and enduring poverty, of the greed of some and the generosity of many, of darkness and of light. And I've seen the darkness, of course, yet I look out on New York today and I see so much light. These contradictions mean we can at once love our city as it is and challenge its flaws, not as a reason for pessimism, but a call for activism. As public advocate, I've tried to be an activist elected official, someone who pushes back. Now I see the chance to push forward. To provide accountability aimed at the ideal that government has an opportunity and an obligation to do good. At the core of public service and progressivism is the principle of making government work and showing people it can work for them. That means we need to meet people where they are, also show grace instead of ignoring what brought them there, and be honest about why. The powers in place would rather create an other to blame for our problems than to address them. Whether it be our immigrant communities, our trans siblings, our homeless neighbors, or too many other marginalized groups. Rejecting those ideas means naming the reason that the powers in place perpetuate them. Because if we are divided, the status quo stands. Whether you arrived in our city generations ago, or 5 years ago, or 5 minutes ago, the reason so many New Yorkers have too little are not because of the people who have even less or who have been here for less time, not because of the people pushed to the bottom, but the systems entrenched at the top. That's where we should focus our anger and our action. If we are not driven apart by the divisions of our races, our religions, our identities, but pulled together by the commonalities in our emotions, our needs, and our humanity, then we can all climb. I know that the project of New York is possible. That great mosaic described by another mayor who believed in democratic social ideals, David Dinkins. Yet the truth of it is there are people who are rooting for New York to fail. Some couch it in concern, others openly scorn our city, but at the heart of this hate is the truth that our success, that our very existence belies their core belief that New York is not possible. They demonize us because our mosaic challenges their ideology. They want to be right in their cynicism more than they want us to succeed in our idealism. They are driven by the idea that bringing together so many diverse people, cultures, faiths, identities into a united community is impossible. But New York, we are a shining beacon of possibility. We cross new cultural borders through each subway stop and are introduced to new experiences through each passenger. Our possibilities come in every language and from every heritage. So do our prayers, so do our people, so does our power. We've shown it in the face of oligarchy and authoritarianism. Neighbors standing with neighbors across borough and background to defend immigrant communities and feed hungry families. We see it in the multicultural mosaic that brought us to this very moment. Even with this great moment, I know that realizing the full potential of our possibility will not be easy. It never has been. Yet I believe it's possible to make great progress because I've seen it through my years in the building behind me and the streets before us. I've been in our movement and I've seen things move. The simple truth is that governing is hard, that achievement is exhausting, and I aim to assist my partners in government when possible and hold them to account when necessary to learn from what we've done and guide what we can do. I believe in this possibility that with the people, the tools, the passions, and the compassion that we need, we can meet the moment and create change. We can look into the unknown and see opportunity. That's the thing about uncertainty. Anything can happen, but anything can happen. We could make New York more affordable, more safe, and more just. We could, we can, and we have to try. This optimism toward action is embedded not only in our city's heritage, history, but in my heritage. In Grenada, Maurice Bishop took up the fight for these radical, crazy ideas, socialist ideals like housing, healthcare, and education. He demanded that we move forward ever, backward never. And today I echo that call from the Isle of Spice to the island of Manhattan. He also cautioned that revolutionaries do not have the right to be cowards. We can be afraid, but we have to meet that courage to match it. There are things to be feared, but there is also reason to hope. Hope is the embrace of possibility. Hope and fear are undeniably connected. Hope is the belief that good can come. Fear is the worry that it won't. In these contradicting ideals, we are faced with a choice, and I choose hope. In other words, I have faith. But faith without works is dead. So today, I'm committing to the work of public service, and I ask every New Yorker to commit their own talents to use what they have and do what they can for the success of our city and everyone who calls it home. I don't know if when my Grenadian mother arrived as a teenager, she hoped that a half a century later, her son would speak from these steps. But she could have, because here in New York City, we choose to celebrate possibility and work to make reality. I wish I could go back and tell my younger self that. Instead, I'll say it to my daughters today, to the children of the Perez-Araneda family, to everyone who may question their own worth like I did, or whether it's worth fighting for the city with all its contradictions and problems and possibilities. And I gotta take a second to say something to so many young people who are out there. And I'm gonna say it to one person who's waited 49 years to hear it. Little black boy, you were worth it. And you always were. And without any titles, you were enough. You were always enough. And you deserve to accept love, and you deserve to be protected. And I'm honored to be here to help create a city that's worthy of that for you. And I'm so proud of you. So just hold on, we're gonna be all right. We're gonna be all right. I'm so proud of you.
Let's go. We're gonna be all right.
As we head into a new year, a new term, I want to ask all of you to take an oath with me. Our neighbors, I know in Brazil, adopted this motto that I've tried to embody. I did hear it for Comptroller Lander, but I gotta give him his credit. That no one let go of anyone's hands, because if we're all connected, we can't lose anyone. So we hold on to the hand of our neighbor and we reach out with our other hand to grasp someone who may fall through the cracks, and we bring them along. I want everyone, if they're comfortable, take a hand of the person next to you or the arm and just repeat after me. We can all be the voice of the people. I know what's ahead, but I won't lose hold. And I won't lose hope. Anything can happen, so anything can happen. And as we march forward, no one let go of anyone's hands. Peace.
Jumaane Williams, activist, Bronx, Brooklyn Tech meets Bronx Science. They are embracing right
to perform the labor anthem, Bread and Roses.
Mamdani with
Please
Bronx
welcome
Science.
to the stage,
Two great high schools
Bluesky
in Miami. I mean, sorry, in New York. I'm saying New York City. New York is an amazing city. The diversity that you're seeing here is pretty freaking amazing. The three people who you've seen sworn in, Mark Levine, Jumaane Williams, and you will then see Zohran Mamdani, they really represent the magic of New York City, the diversity of New York City. And the magic of New York City is the diversity. Lots of people saying they need some tissue boxes for this, because this is what's going to save the country, this diversity. And I'm telling you, blue states will save this country if it can be saved. States like California, Illinois, Maryland, but New York is special. New York City is just an incredibly special city. It's really a city-state. If you look at its GDP, it has a GDP of, the New York metro area has a larger GDP than Canada. And it succeeds because of the diversity, because it is a city where you can literally inaugurate a Jewish man, a Muslim African, South Asian African, and a Grenadian brother, who two of the three that are inaugurated today are Democratic Socialists, Jumaane Williams and Zohran Mamdani. And Mark Levine is a traditional Democrat, but a very progressive Democrat, a fighting Democrat. And they represent the diversity of the country. Look at this
perform the labor anthem, Bread and Roses. Please
mosaic
welcome to the
of
stage,
diversity. This is what
Bluesky
MAGA hates, but it's what makes America actually great. Nobody left behind. That's right. That's right. That's right.
Hello, New York. Happy New Year. As we go marching, marching in the beauty of the day, a million darkened kitchens, 1,000 new lofts gray, are touched with all the radiance that a sudden sun discloses. For the people hear us singing, bread and roses, bread and roses. As we go marching, marching, we battle to for men, for they are women's children, and we mother them again. Our lives shall not be sweated from birth until life closes. Hearts starve as well as bodies give us bread, but give us roses. As we go marching, marching, unnumbered women dead, go crying through our singing their ancient call for bread, small art and love and beauty, their drudging spirits new. Yes, it is bread we fight for, but we fight for roses too. As we go marching, marching, we bring the greater days. The rising of the women means the rising of the race. No more the drudge and idler tend that toil where one reposes, but a sharing of life's glories, bread and roses, bread and roses. Our life shall not be sweated from birth until life closes. Hearts starve as well as bodies, bread and roses, bread and roses. Thank you. Congratulations, Zohran.
That was beautiful rendition of Bread and Roses. It's a political song that initiated during the suffrage movement and is associated with the labor movement as well. It's based on a poem, Bread and Roses, by James Oppenheim, just so you know more about that. And it comes from a poem with the attribution line, bread for all and roses too. And
to administer the oath of office for Mayor Zohran Mamdani.
Here we go.
Welcome Senator Bernie Sanders.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, thank you very much for inviting me to what has been an extraordinarily moving and beautiful afternoon. And I'm here mostly to thank the people of New York City. At a time in our country's history when we are seeing too much hatred, too much divisiveness, and too much injustice, thank you for electing Zohran Mamdani as your mayor. New York, thank you for inspiring our nation. Thank you for giving us, from coast to coast, the hope and the vision that we can create government that works for all, not just the wealthy and the few. At a moment when people in America, and in fact throughout the world, are losing faith in democracy, over 90,000 of you in this city volunteered for Zohran's campaign. You knocked on doors. You shared your dreams and your hopes for the future of this city. And in the process, you took on the Democratic establishment, the Republican establishment, the President of the United States, and some enormously wealthy oligarchs. And you defeated them in the biggest political upset in modern American history. You showed the world the most important lesson that can be learned today, And that is that when working people stand together, when we don't let them divide us up, there is nothing we cannot accomplish. Running a great and winning campaign was extremely difficult, but governing a city of 8 million people with all of its complexities and all of the problems that Zohran is inheriting will be even harder. Zohran needed your help to win the election. Now he will need your help to govern. Grassroots democracy and people participating in the day-to-day struggles of this city will lead to good governance. Please remain involved. You know, all of us have heard how Zohran's opponents have called the agenda that he campaigned on radical, communistic, and absolutely unachievable. Really? That's not what we believe. In the richest country in the history of the world, making sure that people can live in affordable housing is not radical. It is the right and decent thing to do. And in the midst of a massive housing crisis, it is exactly what the people of this city and this country want and need. Providing free and high-quality childcare is not radical. Countries all over the world have done it for years. It is what our kids require if they're going to be well prepared for school and what working parents desperately need. It is, in fact, what every city in America should be doing. Free bus transportation is not radical. It will save workers time and money, protect our environment, and make the city more efficient. And making sure that every family in the city, regardless of income, has access to decent, quality food at an affordable cost is not radical. Good nutrition keeps us healthy, helps prevent chronic illnesses. In the long run, city-sponsored grocery stores will save society money. Lastly, and maybe most importantly, demanding that the wealthy and large corporations start paying their fair share of taxes. As I was saying, demanding that the wealthy and large corporations start paying their fair share of taxes is not radical. It is exactly the right thing to do. Today, while over 60% of our people in New York, people in Vermont, people all over this country are living paycheck to paycheck, we have more income and wealth inequality than we have ever had. While tens of millions struggle to put food on the table, pay for health care, pay for housing, the top 1% have never, ever had it so good. And yet, there are billionaires and large corporations that pay almost nothing in taxes. That has got to end. That will end. The billionaire class in this city and in this country have got to understand that in America, they cannot have it all. That America, our great country, must belong to all of us, not just a few. And that lesson begins today in New York City. Let me thank you all for the hope and inspiration that you are giving people all over this country. And now it is my honor to swear in your new mayor. Please repeat after me. I, Zohran Mamdani,
I, Zohran Mamdani,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Charter of the City of New York,
and the Charter of the City of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of the Mayor of the City of New York,
of the office of the Mayor of the City of New York,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
A lot of very happy New Yorkers there.
My fellow New Yorkers, today begins a new era. I stand before you, moved by the privilege of taking this sacred oath, humbled by the faith that you have placed in me, and honored to serve as either your 111th or 112th mayor of New York City. But I do not stand alone. I stand alongside you, the tens of thousands of you gathered here in Lower Manhattan, warmed against the January chill by the resurgent flame of hope. I stand alongside countless more New Yorkers watching from cramped kitchens in Flushing and barbershops in East New York, from cell phones propped against the dashboards of parked taxi cabs at LaGuardia, from hospitals in Mott Haven and libraries in El Barrio that have too long known only neglect. I stand alongside construction workers in steel-toed boots and halal cart vendors whose knees ache from working all day. I stand alongside neighbors who carry a plate of food to the elderly couple down the hall, those in a rush who still lift strangers' strollers up subway stairs, and every person who makes the choice day after day, even when it feels impossible, to call our city home. I stand alongside over 1 million New Yorkers who voted for this day nearly 2 months ago. And I stand just as resolutely alongside those who did not. I know there are some who view this administration with distrust or disdain, or who see politics as permanently broken. And while only action can change minds, I promise you this: if you are a New Yorker, I am your mayor. Regardless of whether we agree, I will protect you, celebrate with you, mourn alongside you, and never, not for a second, hide from you. I thank the labor and movement leaders here today, the activists and the elected officials who will return to fighting for New Yorkers the second this ceremony concludes, and the performers who have gifted us with their talent. Thank you to Governor Hochul. Thank you as well to Mayor Adams. Dorothy's son, a son of Brownsville who rose from washing dishes to the highest position in our city, for being here as well. He and I have had our share of disagreements, but I will always be touched that he chose me as the mayoral candidate that he would most want to be trapped with on an elevator. Thank you to the two titans who, as an assembly member, I've had the privilege of being represented by in Congress, Nidia Velázquez, and our incredible opening speaker, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. You have paved the way for this moment. Thank you to the man whose leadership I seek most to emulate, who I am so grateful to be sworn in by today, Senator Bernie Sanders. Thank you to my teams, from the assembly to the campaign to the transition, and now the team I am so excited to lead from City Hall. Thank you to my parents, Mama and Baba, for raising me, for teaching me how to be in this world, and for having brought me to this city. Thank you to my family, from Kampala to Delhi. And thank you to my wife, Rama. For being my best friend and for always showing me the beauty in everyday things. And most of all, thank you to the people of New York. A moment like this comes rarely. Seldom do we hold such an opportunity to transform and reinvent. Rarer still is it the people themselves whose hands are the ones upon the levers of change. And yet we know that too often in our past, moments of great possibility have been promptly surrendered to small imagination and smaller ambition. What was promised was never pursued. What could have changed remained the same. For the New Yorkers most eager to see our city remade, the weight has only grown heavier. The wait has only grown longer. In writing this address, I have been told that this is the occasion to reset expectations, that I should use this opportunity to encourage the people of New York to ask for little and expect even less. I will do no such thing. The only expectation I seek to reset is that of small expectations. Beginning today, we will govern expansively and audaciously. We may not always succeed, but never will we be accused of lacking the courage to try. To those who insist that the era of big government is over, hear me when I say this. No longer will City Hall hesitate to use its power to improve New Yorkers' lives. For too long, we have turned to the private sector for greatness while accepting mediocrity from those who serve the public. I cannot blame anyone who has come to question the role of government, whose faith in democracy has been eroded by decades of apathy. We will restore that trust by walking a different path, one where government is no longer solely the final recourse for those struggling, one where excellence is no longer the exception. We expect greatness from the cooks wielding 1,000 spices, from those who stride out onto our Broadway stages, and from our starting point guard at Madison Square Garden. Let us demand the same from those who work in government. In a city where the mere names of our streets are associated with the innovation of the industries that call them home, we will make the word City Hall synonymous with both resolve and results. As we embark upon this work, let us advance a new question, a new answer to the question asked of every generation. Who does New York belong to? For much of our history, the response from City Hall has been simple. It belongs only to the wealthy and well-connected, those who never strain to capture the attention of those in power. Working people have reckoned with the consequences. Crowded classrooms and public housing developments where the elevators sit out of orders. Roads littered with potholes and buses that arrive half an hour late, if at all. Wages that do not rise and corporations that rip off consumers and employees alike. And still, there have been brief, fleeting moments where the equation changed. 12 years ago, Bill de Blasio stood where I stand now as he promised to put an end to economic and social inequalities that divided our city into two. In 1990, David Dinkins swore the same oath I swore today, vowing to celebrate the gorgeous mosaic that is New York, where every one of us is deserving of a decent life. And nearly 6 decades before him, Fiorella LaGuardia took office with the goal of building a city that was far greater and more beautiful for the hungry and the poor. Some of these mayors achieved more success than others, but they were unified by a shared belief that New York could belong to more than just a privileged few. It could belong to those who operate our subways and rake our parks, those who feed us biryani and beef patties, picanha and pastrami on rye. And they know that this belief could be made true if only government dared to work hardest for those who work hardest. Over the years to come, my administration will resurrect that legacy. City Hall will deliver an agenda of safety, affordability, and abundance, where government looks and lives like the people it represents, never flinches in the fight against corporate greed, and refuses to cower before challenges that others have deemed too complicated. In so doing, we will provide our own answer to that age-old question. Who does New York belong to? Well, my friends, we can look to Madiba and the South African Freedom Charter. New York belongs to all who live in it. Together, we will tell a new story of our city. This will not be a tale of one city governed only by the 1%, nor will it be a tale of two cities, the rich versus the poor. It will be a tale of 8.5 million cities, each of them a New Yorker with hopes and fears, each a universe, each of them woven together. The authors of this story will speak Pashto and Mandarin, Yiddish and Creole. They will pray in mosques, at shul, at church, at gurudwaras and mandirs and temples. And many will not pray at all. They will be Russian Jewish immigrants in Brighton Beach, Italians in Rossville, and Irish families in Woodhaven, many of whom came here with nothing but a dream of a better life, a dream which has withered away. They will be young people in cramped Marble Hill apartments where the walls shake when the subway passes. They will be Black homeowners in St. Albans, whose homes represent a physical testament to triumph over decades of lesser paid labor and redlining. They will be Palestinian New Yorkers in Bay Ridge, who will no longer have to contend with a politics that speaks of universalism and then makes them the exception. Few of these 8.5 million will fit into neat and easy boxes. Some will be voters from Hillside Avenue or Fordham Road who supported President Trump a year before they voted for me, tired of being failed by their party's establishment. The majority will not use the language that we often expect from those who wield influence. I welcome the change. For too long, those fluent in the good grammar of civility have deployed decorum to mask agendas of cruelty. Many of these people have been betrayed by the established order. But in our administration, their needs will be met. Their hopes and dreams and interests will be reflected transparently in government. They will shape our future. And if for too long these communities have existed as distinct from one another, we will draw this city closer together. We will replace the frigidity of rugged individualism with the warmth of collectivism. If our campaign demonstrated that the people of New York yearn for solidarity, then let this government foster it. Because no matter what you eat, how you pray, or where you come from, the words that most define us are the two we all share: New Yorkers. And it will be New Yorkers who reform a long broken property tax system. New Yorkers who will create a new Department of Community Safety that will tackle the mental health crisis and let the police focus on the job they signed up to do. New Yorkers who will take on the bad landlords who mistreat their tenants and free small business owners from the shackles of bloated bureaucracy. And I am proud to be one of those New Yorkers. When we won the primary last June, there were many who said these aspirations and those who held them had come out of nowhere. Yet one man's nowhere is another man's somewhere. This movement came out of 8.5 million somewheres. Taxi cab depots and Amazon warehouses, DSA meetings and curbside domino games. The powers that be had looked away from these places for quite some time if they'd known about them at all. So they dismissed them as nowhere. But in our city, where every corner of these 5 boroughs holds power, there is no nowhere and there is no no one. There is only New York and there are only New Yorkers. 8.5 million New Yorkers will speak this new era into existence. It will be loud. It will be different. It will feel like the New York we love. No matter how long you have called this city home, that love has shaped your life. I know that it has shaped mine. This is the city where I set land speed records on my Razor scooter at the age of 12. Quickest 4 blocks of my life. The city where I ate powdered donuts at halftimes during AYSO soccer games and realized I probably was not going to be going pro. The city where I devoured 2 big slices at Coronet's Pizza, played cricket with my friends at Ferry Point Park, and took the 1 train to the BX10 only to still show up late to Bronx Science. The city where I have gone on hunger strike just outside these gates. Sat claustrophobic on a stalled N train just after Atlantic Avenue and waited in quiet terror for my father to emerge from 26 Federal Plaza. The city where I took a beautiful woman named Rama to McCarran Park on our first date and swore a different oath to become an American citizen on Pearl Street. To live in New York, to love New York, is to know that we are the stewards of something without equal in our world. Where else can you hear the sound of the steel pan, savor the smell of sancocho, and pay $9 for coffee on the same block? Where else could a Muslim kid like me grow up eating bagels and lox every Sunday? That love will be our guide as we pursue our agenda. Here, where the language of the New Deal was born, we will return the vast resources of this city to the workers who call it home. Not only will we make it possible for every New Yorker to afford a life they love once again, we will overcome the isolation that too many feel and connect the people of this city to one another. The cost of childcare will no longer discourage young adults from starting a family, because we will deliver universal childcare for the many by taxing the wealthiest few. Those in rent-stabilized homes will no longer dread the latest rent hike, because we will freeze the rent. Getting on a bus without worrying about a fare hike or whether you'll be able to get to your destination on time will no longer be deemed a small miracle, because we will make those buses fast and free. These policies are not simply about the costs we make free, but the lives we fill with freedom. For too long in our city, freedom has belonged only to those who can afford to buy it. Our city hall will change that. These promises carried our movement to City Hall, and they will carry us from the rallying cries of a campaign to the realities of a new era in politics. 2 Sundays ago, as snow softly fell, I spent 12 hours at the Museum of the Moving Image in Astoria, listening to New Yorkers from every borough as they told me about the city that is theirs. We discussed construction hours on the Van Wyck Expressway and EBT eligibility, affordable housing for artists and ICE raids. I spoke to a man named TJ who said that one day a few years ago, his heart broke as he realized that he would never get ahead here, no matter how hard he worked. I spoke to a Pakistani auntie named Samina, who told me that this movement had fostered something too rare: softness in people's hearts. As she said to me in Urdu, "Logo ke dil badal gaye hain." 142 New Yorkers out of 8.5 million. And yet, if anything united each person sitting across from me, it was the shared recognition that this moment demands a new politics and a new approach to power. We will deliver nothing less as we work each day to make this city belong to more of its people than it did the day before. Here is what I want you to expect from the administration that this morning moved into the building behind me. We will transform the culture of City Hall from one of no to one of how. We will answer to all New Yorkers, not to any billionaire or oligarch who thinks they can buy our democracy. We will govern without shame and insecurity, making no apology for what we believe. I was elected as a democratic socialist, and I will govern as a democratic socialist. I will not abandon my principles for fear of being deemed radical. As the great senator from Vermont once said, what's radical is a system which gives so much to so few and denies so many people the basic necessities of life. We will strive each day to ensure that no New Yorker is priced out of any one of those basic necessities. And throughout it all, we will, in the words of Jason Terrence Phillips, better known as Jadakiss or Jay to the moi, be outside. Because this is a government of New York, by New York, and for New York. Before I end, I want to ask all of you, if you are able, whether you are here today or anywhere watching, to stand with me. I ask you to stand with us now and every day that follows. City Hall will not be able to deliver on our own. And while we will encourage New Yorkers to demand more from those with the great privilege of serving them, we will encourage you to demand more of yourselves as well. The movement we began over a year ago did not end with our election. It will not end this afternoon. It lives on with every battle we will fight together. Every blizzard and flood we withstand together. Every moment of fiscal challenge we overcome with ambition, not austerity, together. Every way we pursue change in working people's interests rather than at their expense, together. No longer will we treat victory as an invitation to turn off the news. From today onwards, we will understand victory very simply. Something with the power to transform lives, and something that demands effort from each of us every single day. What we achieve together will reach across the 5 boroughs, and it will resonate far beyond. There are many who will be watching. They want to know if the left can govern. They want to know if the struggles that afflict them can be solved. They want to know if it is right to hope again. So standing together with the wind of purpose at our backs, we will do something that New Yorkers do better than anyone else. We will set an example for the world. If what Sinatra said is true, let us prove that anyone can make it in New York and anywhere else too. Let us prove that when a city belongs to the people, there is no need too small to be met, no person too sick to be made healthy, no one too alone to feel like New York is their home. The work continues. The work endures. The work, my friends, has only just begun. Thank you.
And there you have it. Zohran Mamdani giving one hell of a speech. He said, I was elected as a democratic socialist, and I will govern as a democratic socialist. I will not compromise my principles for fear of being deemed radical. He said, what's radical is to be in the richest city in the richest country in America and have people still going hungry and being without health care. He promised to stand by his promises for free buses, free childcare, and making housing affordable. Beautiful speech. There he is with his lovely wife. Rama Duwaji is her name. I predict she will emerge as something of a style icon. I do not know who made that fabulous coat she is wearing, but I predict that we will be seeing a lot of Rama Duwaji in such magazines as Vogue. I think that Vanity Fair. People are standing all over the country. He said, uh-oh. We outside. Let's go back to our correspondents, Nitha and Wanjira. Nitha, what are you seeing? Give us your impression. You got
I can't hear you at all, but we're wrapped up.
Get that mic right in front of you. Hey, there's Winnie. There's Wanji. You're seeing Winnie, Wanji, and Nitha. They can't hear us, but you're seeing people standing up, very excited, lots of excitement. We can't hear you, Nitha. I'm going to text you guys, let you know that we can't hear a word you're saying, but we enjoy. Jason, you can put it up. I'm enjoying just seeing the visuals. There you have Mamdani on the dais. Now, there was one question I was furiously texting our on-the-ground team, Winnie, Wanji, and Nitha, to find out the answer to your question in the chat. And that question was whether Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer were in the house. And Jason, if you get a chance, I've uploaded a photo to our little deck of images called Mamdani Inaugural. Mamdani, I called it Mamdani Election Dais. It should be Mamdani Inaugural Dais. It's in the folder if you do get a chance. I just want to show you all that our team got a picture of the dais, which is where all the muckety mucks and all of the VIPs were sitting. And if Chuck Schumer and House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries were there, that's likely where they would be. You can see in the photo, if Jason, he's going to get a chance to try to upload it. You can see Letitia James, who's the Attorney General of New York. You can see Bill de Blasio, the former mayor of New York City. You can see Eric Adams, who you saw got a laugh at the joke that, you know, he did during one of the debates. He said, which of the other candidates would you most like to be stuck in an elevator with? And he said Mamdani. There's a photo called Mamdani Election Dais. It's my little mislabel that's in our assets folder. And if you wouldn't mind grabbing that photo, it's kind of the last photo in the bucket. I just want to show it to the chat and to the audience that's watching us on YouTube and Substack and Facebook, et cetera, to let you all know we you know, our crack team on the ground took a picture of the dais, and they did not see Chuck Schumer or Hakeem Jeffries. I'll note that Hakeem Jeffries, very late in the game in October of last year, did finally endorse, not in the most excited way, Zohran Mamdani. It's a big challenge for Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries to really seem to be standing on the opposite end of history as the man you just heard speak, who I would argue is one of the most popular and dynamic politicians in the country. And that's saying a lot, given the fact that the two men who preceded him, Jumaane Williams, who gave also one hell of an incredible speech, is also incredibly popular as well as Mark Levine, the multilingual new comptroller of New York. He speaks fluent Hebrew and fluent Spanish and obviously fluent English, you know, trilingual former teacher. He was a bilingual math and science junior high school teacher in the South Bronx. So what you're seeing is this incredible, diverse, dynamic, young, new leadership team in New York. And one of the things about being young, if you go back and you look at the civil rights movement, is you're too young to be so cynical that you don't think you can do the things that you say you want to do. Zohran Mamdani is young enough that he actually doesn't have a fear of the institutional barriers that might prevent him from doing the things that he said he's going to do. So he's going to push forward with the youth. That is why the civil rights movement was effective. People are saying I haven't had any water. You're right. I've been furiously looking up information to try to make sure that y'all are informed. I am going to have some water. Thank you very much. I'm going to hydrate. I had my coffee, of course, this morning in my fabulous Joy Reid Show cup. So I was drinking coffee. I need to hydrate. I want to go through just a couple of things before we get back to our correspondents on the ground. They're going to start looking for some folks to talk with. But I thought it was important to give you some more information about the people that you did see speaking. I mentioned DJ MoMA, who was obviously giving the music, and behind Mandy Patinkin, one of our favorite actors, who's also, as the chat pointed out, a fantastic activist. That's Somewhere Over the Rainbow with PS22 Chorus of Staten Island was awesome. That was a beautiful moment.
That
of course,
file isn't loaded.
Okay, Bernie Sanders, I'll try to reload it. Bernie Sanders, of course, administering the oath of office. The young singer who performed Bread and Roses is named Lucy Dacus. That was actually pretty incredible as well. Let's see, the poet. Let me find this poet's name here because I actually pulled him up as well, who's actually a pretty well-known, incredible poet named Cornelius Eady. That is who read that incredible poem. So that's some of who was on the dais. Some folks in the chat have noted that today is the last day of Kwanzaa, which also really reflects this moment that we're in. The final day of Kwanzaa is Imani faith. And the diktat of that is to believe with all our hearts in our people and the righteousness and victory of our struggle, which seems to really fit in with this incredible multiracial cast that is going to be running New York, along with Letitia James, the bold, dynamic, fearless Attorney General of New York. Honestly, I have to tell you, New York is so symbolic of the possibilities of America in every way. The home of the Statue of Liberty, delivering a mosaic of incredible diversity in its new leadership. We're going to try to go back to our live team as soon as they get back in backstage and let us know that they've got some folks to talk with. But this leadership of Jumaane Williams, Mark Levine, and Zohran Mamdani. One of the things I love about Mamdani, he didn't try to anglicize his name and call himself Zohran. or Zohran, like a lot of people who are South Asian or who are, foreign born, who are immigrants. They try to anglicize their name and make themselves like Nikki Haley. Instead of being Nurjama, she's Nikki Haley. He didn't try to do it. He's Zohran. Like, he pronounces it like really. And I love that about him. He's not trying to change anything about himself, including his political affiliations. What happened? Oh, this is my water. Yep, got it. Okay, so I'm going to definitely have some water. Thank you all for that very much. But former rapper Mamdani also shouting out Jadakiss and We Outside. So he did a lot of that sort of thing as well. I'm going to try to get this photo back in so you guys can hopefully see. Hold on. I'm going to try to get this in so you guys can see that we checked, and it does not appear that the two leaders, sort of highest ranking leaders, federal leaders in New York were there. And I think that's a huge mistake.
There is some discrepancy because I've seen some people in the chat say that at least Schumer was there that they seen.
They were invited. I know for a fact that they were invited. So we don't know.
Visual proof that they were there until I see that thing,
Exactly.
They didn't attend.
We don't have any proof they were there. We are still working to try to get to confirm that. By tomorrow's show, we will confirm whether they were actually there. I'm just saying we have a photo of the dais and we don't see them. And Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the Congresswoman, and Senator Bernie Sanders were seated in that VIP section. So presumably, if Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries were there, presumably they would be seated in that section because that is the VIP section.
Correct.
And in that photo, you do not see them. So that does not mean, again, we're not going to try to give you fake news. So we cannot confirm they weren't there. We just don't see them. They also didn't speak. And presumably because of their high rank, if they were there, they would have spoken, right? You would assume that they would be given time on the mic. That didn't happen. Now, they were not big proponents of Zohran Mamdani. They were a reluctant supporter, at least Hakeem Jeffries was in the end. So I think that's important. The other thing I want to respond to someone in the chat who said, because this is an Obama-like moment. It really is. One of the reasons I really wanted to do this today is that I feel like last year was really tough. Last year was a tough year for this country. It was a brutal year for immigrants. It was a brutal year for women. It was a brutal year for LGBTQ folks, especially trans folks. It was a rough year in terms of civil rights, in terms of Black history being erased, brown history being erased, the history of women being driven out of the military, Donald Trump stealing, turning the White House into his own personal piggy bank, the most corrupt regime in the history of the United States. It's not even close. Like the level of corruption, stealing, theft, and the billionaires, Elon Musk hitting that trillionaire mark, or at least on paper, he is now on track to become a trillionaire. The rich just ran roughshod over the country. And I really thought it was important on the first day of the new year to present something hopeful and to present something positive and to present it in a way that you're not going to get on mainstream media, because typically what we used to do, taking it behind the scenes again, is that we would go live to something like this and cut away when somebody that isn't famous was talking. So when something that isn't related to the main event wasn't happening. So all the pre-show that you saw, the imam who gave the blessing, that probably wouldn't make air on mainstream media because they would cut away unless you're watching C-SPAN. C-SPAN just gives it to you raw, no chaser, which is why we love C-SPAN. But normally in mainstream media, you'd cut away when the kids from PS29 were singing because that's not relevant to the main story. And then you would have people really talking over the visuals while you're not getting a chance to really experience. But we wanted you to experience the whole thing, to really see it, to really see the whole event in its totality, the way that the people who were sitting there got to see it. I think that's important because I think you need the full context of things and to hear the whole speeches, not cut away from the speeches, but listen to them all. And not just Mamdani's speech, because he wasn't the only person getting inaugurated, getting officially sworn in, I should say. The official swearing in was 3 people, and they were so interesting and diverse from each other. I thought you should see that. So that's important. The other thing I want to say to the person in the chat, God bless everybody in the chat. We appreciate all your comments, whether I agree with them or not. We want you all to feel free to check in, chime in, unless you're just trolling and then just you're an asshole. But if you're chiming in legitimately and we disagree, that's fine.
Trolls, I listen, I get to a point sometimes where I miss a couple of them, you know what I mean? So it's like, if you don't jump in them so much, they call like swarming. So since we don't have our full staff today to basically do everything, I'm working the whole thing by myself.
It's just me and Jason.
Guys.
Yeah.
So maybe one or two got through, but if I see them, I ban them. They're never going to get back in. Don't come to somebody's house. You would never let anybody come into your house and disrespect your mother.
Right.
You wouldn't let that happen. So we're not going to allow that here.
So I agree with that, and I don't think this person was actually trolling. So they're saying Schumer's was there. So according to Sheena 2756, we're going to try to confirm that, Sheena. And we're not saying he wasn't there. We're just saying that the picture that we had from our team of the dais didn't show him. That doesn't mean he wasn't there. He could absolutely have been there, and it would be smart for him to be there. I hope they were there. I hope they both were there, to be honest. My hope is that they both were there. We just need to confirm it before we say yes or no. We don't know either way.
And if they weren't there, shame on them.
Well, if they weren't there, I think it's just a missed opportunity because this is the most important politician in your state at the moment. So Sheena is saying she saw pictures of him. If you can, definitely, that's good to know. We will try to confirm whether they were there. I think it would have been very wise. I hope they were there. I think it would have been smart to be there. We're going to try to confirm that. But to the person in the chat earlier who said Obama delivered hope but not a lot of change, that's actually not true at all. If you go back to the history of Social Security, it was originally supposed to include universal health care. And the fight to prevent that from being included in Social Security was a 100-year almost battle in which the only way that they could get universal health care, something like it, through the American Medical Association, which fought it like they were fighting zombies in the dead of night. They fought it to the point where you could only get through universal health care for seniors, Medicare, which is part of the Social Security Act. That's all they could get. They could not get it for the poor until 1965, when a separate act under LBJ, Medicaid, was passed to give something like access to universal health care for the poor. It took from 1935 or something to 1965 just to get something close to universal health care for the poor. What Obamacare did was solve a 100-year problem, which even FDR, with all his power, could not get universal health care passed in the 1930s with the New Deal. Obama managed to do it in his first 100 days. He had one shot. I got one thing I did, and he did that. That's huge.
Okay.
Let's go back to our team. Mona and Juan, what do you got?
We are freezing and outside here. We actually just left the inner vicinity of City Hall, and we're on the street now talking to some folks who've been here. Hello, you're live on the Joy Reid Show. Hello. Tell us your name, sir.
My name is Hasnain, and my surname is Mamdani.
Your son's name is
My surname.
Oh, your surname is Mamdani.
True story.
Oh, so how do you feel?
Yeah, it's great. I know the name's getting popular, so yeah, it's good. I was glad to be here in New York. It's freezing, but it was good.
Yep. And who is this your daughter with you?
That's my daughter.
Hi, do you want to come on camera? What's your name? Ariana? Okay, and how do you feel today, Ariana? Happy?
Yeah,
Really good. Yeah? And you?
Hi, I'm Hass's wife, Major Reid, and I guess just really excited. Just makes you realize that anything is possible.
And tell me, how does it feel seeing the first Muslim mayor of New York City?
Yeah, it's amazing. It just shows that anything's possible here. New York's a great city. Like Zohran said, it's 8.5 million different stories, right? So it's a great thing.
Exactly. And you?
Super excited. Anything is possible. His speech was just so inspiring, and he's just such a down-to-earth person. It makes you realize that, you know what, anybody can do anything.
Exactly. So that means you have to be mayor one day, right?
Maybe.
Maybe. There you go, Joy. Maybe.
I love
we're
it.
Here freezing, but we're all here. Everybody's in great spirits, happy, excited. And Wanji and Winnie are somewhere around here trying to grab some more folks that we could talk to. So
I love it. Thank you so much. Niva, correspondent for the Joy Reid Show, thank you very much. We appreciate you. All right, get warm. Put on a heavier coat. Get that hood up so you can be a little bit warmer. It's cold, y'all. And look, you think about the number of people who are willing to brave that cold. We're going to probably get just a couple more people before we sign off. We don't want to keep you all too long, but the bottom line is we really, I think, needed something hopeful and positive. And for it to be day one, by the way, the reason that this all happened today is that in New York City, the traditional swearing in date for the new mayor is January 1st. So Eric Adams was sworn on January 1st as well. David Dinkins, this is the way it works. And so it's a beautiful thing to have this kind of hope and this kind of change that I think is indicative of what we can do if people vote. It was incredibly improbable for Zohran Mamdani, the African-born South Asian immigrant who came to this country at 7 years old by way of South Africa after his family left Uganda, son of Mira Nair and a professor father who's an incredible professor of religious history and other histories. For that guy to be mayor of New York City, people said, yeah, absolutely no. He's never going to win. He's a democratic socialist. No one's going to vote for a democratic socialist. By the way, Jumaane Williams is also a democratic socialist. So the city of New York, the 8 million people of New York are going to be led by not one, but two democratic socialists who claim it proudly and don't run from it. They're not like sneaky democratic socialists. They're serious, like in your face, this is what we are, because they understand what democratic socialism is different from actual regular socialism in that it's the belief in the marriage of democracy and allowing the poor and the destitute to actually thrive by having the public space available to them, things like healthcare, things like childcare, and saying that the public sphere should contribute to that. And why this helps a city like New York get stronger financially is that if you own a business and your employees don't have to stay home because they have a childcare emergency, they can actually go to work because there's childcare where they can drop their children off, meaning they can come to work. And if your employees can get on a bus and not have to worry that they don't have the $1.75 to get on the bus and that's going to prevent them from getting to work, where do you think they're going to be? At work. And so businesses actually
$1.75. How about $2.75?
I know. Is it $2.75? That's when I was there. It was $1.75.
No, it was lower, but yeah, it's much more. It's only $3.
But but honestly, if the trains and buses, if the buses are free, like when we were there, you used to get a free transfer. So you ride the train, and then if you have to get off the train and take a bus, it was free. You just got a transfer. You just get a little ticket from the train, you get on the bus. If you don't have to fish in your pocket for your card, you actually are more willing to leave your house and go.
Oh,
wait, hold on. Okay, we've got Wanjira. Do we have Wanjira? Hey, there we go. All right,
Can
what do
you
we
hear
got?
me okay?
We can hear you.
Okay, fantastic. Oh man, no sleep, no slow. It's gonna stop. People out here to come out here and support Zohran, and I'm standing here with Asia.
Hi. I'm the Bronx.
Asia's from the Bronx. BX, Asia represents in the Bronx. I just want to chat with Asia because we're gonna freeze, so we're not gonna keep it too long. But I wanted to ask you, what does this mean to be? This is what's on. I see you have this merch. Were you one of the people, one of the thousands that volunteered to exit? How was it?
Yeah, I was on volunteer. It's just, there's a lot of hope that being here and seeing being nominated, we are in a dark time now. For us, it's just amazing. I'm so honored to just be here and see that, I'm just so happy that we have Zohran on our mayor right now.
Absolutely. What is your hope for New York City? Like, what does the future look like for New York now that you have someone who's willing to really commit to those top three objectives: feeding the rich, affordable care, all of those things? What are
Well, okay, so we're happy to stay here. Right. Here, not where
If we can hear me, pivot over a little bit so we can
taking over, this is like, I want to be able to see New York. I don't want to be part of Seattle. I've been here my entire life, and Zohran being here saying that he's going to run and support us, it means so much. I can stay in New York, call it my home.
I love that. I love that. Well, thank you so much. Thank you, Asia.
No problem.
Representing, we appreciate it, and we're with you.
Thank you.
And we hope we appreciate it.
Stay warm, guys.
Oh yes, guys. So this is the sentiment all around, and people are loving that this is a new New York, and it's something that they've been looking for and waiting for a very, very long time. So we're really excited to be here, even though we're freezing.
Chanting tax the rich.
They are.
People were literally chanting tax the rich in unison. It was amazing.
At City Hall.
This is
amazing. This is what we're out here for. This is why we're doing it. And this is why a lot of people came out here today to also celebrate this really incredible moment.
Frozen.
We're frozen. Get Winnie in here. She thinks she's not gonna get in here, but we're
Yes.
See, this is the reason why we don't. This is the reason why we don't have our subs monitoring the chat because they're all out there in the
So
streets.
by the way, the people who would
Jason's on his own. Sorry, Jason.
I'm holding it down on my own today. I'm sorry. I got it.
Outside.
Well, I am going to now officially dispatch you ladies to go indoors, get some hot chocolate.
Yes.
Appreciate your hard work. You all are fabulous. Thank you so much for all you did today. We absolutely appreciate y'all. Chat, please give them a round of applause in the chat. Y'all, please holler at Winnie, Wanji, and Nitha, our correspondents live in these streets. Look outside, because normally they would be monitoring.
We outside, as Mamdani said, we outside.
We outside. My mayor said, we outside.
Thank you, ladies. We appreciate y'all. Go inside.
Bye.
How about that? This is new media, everybody. We literally be chatting and kikiing with our correspondents. This is how we do. Normally, people play one role, but on this show, normally Wanj, Winnie, and Nitha would be back behind the scenes. You would not see their faces. They would be monitoring the chat. They do a lot of great work to help Jason. And so Jason is solo dolo monitoring the chat and getting all your comments on screen.
Hey, I got this though. I think I let one troll's comment get up on screen, which annoys me. As soon as I was like, get off. But it's okay. I banned his ass as soon as I seen it.
It's all good. Well, we appreciate it. Thank you all so much. I'm so excited that you all jumped into this chat. Thank you to everybody. We got 1,700 likes. Thank you all for hitting that like button. The algorithm is going to really appreciate that. Thanks to everybody who tuned in. My final comments on this today is that if this did not salve your spirit, I don't know what to tell you. We are starting the year of our Lord 2026, not with the orange monster. I said that we were a baby monitor. He's basically like Rosemary's Baby. But we are not starting off this year with his energy. We are going to start this year with Mamdani's energy, because that's the energy that we're going to need. And I'm going to need everyone, whether people were saying, I'm standing, and giving all of their cities. I saw Wisconsin. I think I saw Seattle. I saw all these different cities, people who are not even in New York saying, I'm standing up. And we're all going to keep standing all the way through November when you all know your assignment. You're going to take this joyful feeling that you have today, this hopeful feeling that you have today, and tell yourself, if Zohran Kwame Mamdani, former hip hop artist, 34-year-old Muslim democratic socialist, he was Young Cardamom, by the way, as a rapper. If Young Cardamom, people in Toronto, Canada, if he can become the mayor of a city whose metro area has a GDP larger than Canada, if that 34-year-old young man can become mayor of New York City against a stream of invective, against a stream of doubters, people who are hating on him because he's a democratic socialist, people who are hating on him because he's a Muslim, hating on him because he's young, he survived all the haters and he won.
Go ahead and do your Rubio swallow. Go ahead, do your drink. There you go.
Let me do my Rubio swallow. No, Rubio swallow would be... that a Rubio swallow is if he can do it.
That's right.
If he can become the mayor of New York City, take on the orange monster, Rosemary's Baby. If he can take on the demonic regime, face them down, and on the day of his public inauguration, say, yeah, I am a democratic socialist. What you gonna do about it? Re-promise the free buses, re-promise the free childcare, re-promise the affordable housing, triple down on his promises without fear. Stand next to Tish James, no fear. AOC, no fear. These are the fear. Bernie Sanders, who didn't win the 2016 presidential primary, but in the end, he won the war, because it is his politics that are ascendant, at least in New York. And I'm not saying Democratic Socialists are going to get elected all over the country, but you've got other improbable candidates that will be on the ballot in November. You have Black men running for statewide office, United States Senate, Mr. Colum in Mississippi. That's improbable, but don't say it cannot happen. Don't say it cannot happen. You've got two dynamic candidates running to be United States Senator from the state of
There's only one way it
Texas.
can happen is folk don't get out,
Don't vote.
get engaged, and don't vote. So if you can vote, you can make it happen.
Correct. Charles Booker running once again for the United States Senate in the great state of Kentucky. Don't say it cannot happen. In Texas, you have two great choices. I know a lot of Jasmine Crockett fans are here in the chat. But both of the people who are running in Texas are brilliant. And
yeah, I was going to say, if one doesn't win, we got another one.
We got another one. We have two great candidates in the United States in the great state of Texas. Both of them are fantastic. When one of them wins that primary, don't say they can't be elected. Just vote. Cori Bush, exactly, running to
or don't
regain
get
her
your
seat
feelings because your candidate lost. It's, we know what we're fighting for right now.
We know what we're fighting for. Cori Bush running to retake her seat in the great state of Missouri. Don't say it cannot happen, because what happened in New York City was not supposed to happen. Barack Obama was not supposed to happen. And don't say, well, we elected Barack Obama, he didn't make change. He solved a 100-year riddle even FDR could not solve by passing a universal health care bill that had been the dream of Democrats since the 1930s. But Barack Hussein Obama, who should never have been electable, did it. He signed that bill into law to the point where Republicans have been trying. If it wasn't great, they wouldn't have been trying to repeal it since 2010. They're still trying to figure out how to get rid of it. And all he did was build on what LBJ did in creating Medicaid, in which he fixed the FDR inability to get universal health care for the poor. It was a handoff. Remember, we keep talking about the handoff, the baton handoff from FDR to LBJ. And then Obama built on what LBJ did. They all build on each other. Even, our friend Joe Biden, all of that infrastructure bill that he put through, he didn't, I was mad at him for some things, but he did some great things, building on what Obama created. He built more.
But unfortunately, Trump came, put gas in, threw a match, and burned the whole damn thing down.
Correct. But guess what we can do? Get us a Democrat
rebuild.
Anything that's been built can be rebuilt. Anything that's been destroyed can be restored. Give me a president that will walk into office and on the first day hire a wrecking crew to destroy whatever disgusting and disgraceful ballroom he creates, pull down all the gold gilding inside of the White House, and start to plan based on the drawings of the original of the East Wing, the way it was when he got here. Build that thing exactly back the way it was, like we should have done with the World Trade Center. Build it right back the way it was. Go knock down whatever Arc de Trump he creates, knock that down, destroy it. Anything that's been built can be destroyed, and anything that's destroyed can be rebuilt.
And immediately rip his name off the Trent Kennedy.
Everything. And go and tick that name off and put Department of Defense back on the Department of Defense building. Just get rid of what he did. Nothing he did is permanent.
The only hope we got, it won't be the status quo afterwards. If we all work together the way it would be, hopefully be better afterwards.
Yeah, that's the first thing they need to do. And then look,
reconstruction all over again.
Yeah, across the whole world, people who are dumping Trump's name, because again, he just puts his name on building, people just taking him off. People are just taking his name off. Just take his name off. So that's the least of our problems. And then begin to restore the programs that have been destroyed. One thing we're probably not going to be able to rebuild is America's reputation, because the whole world knows that we're out of our minds, that this country will elect an Obama and then a Trump, and then sober up again and elect Joe Biden and then put Trump back in. Like the world, they've seen us for who we are. Somebody said, go get Tiffany. Yes, Tiffany Cross will be coming to us live in the show this year. We have lots of other good stuff coming. The last thing I'm going to say before I let you guys go, on the 6th of January, you're going to get to see our sit down with Zohran Mamdani. We met up with him at one of our favorite African restaurants in New York City, and you're going to get to see that conversation, and it's going to be great. So don't say it's not possible. Anyone can get elected if enough people vote for them. Anybody can win if you vote for them.
And I hate to do a shameless plug, everybody. I really do hate to see you do a shameless plug, but I'm going to do it anyway. In the new year, don't forget to go to the shop pick up some good ReidOut. You hear what I just said?
You
The
just said ReidOut. That's from Ms. Now.
But it's okay though.
The artist formerly known as MSNBC.
Now the independent media network of the Joy Reid Show, Image Lab Media Group. But
Yes.
anyway, go to the shop, guys. Buy some merch. We got some good stuff in there. Please.
Absolutely.
Support our mission.
Support independent media. And once again, let's just let you guys know that, and thank you for, yes, Don Lemon and Tim Miller, they were having a ball and showing us love. And we did try to jump in. We were here having our own little party, and Tiffany was there, and we were chilling on one side, and they were chilling on the other side. But
we were inside this time.
We
it was
were
cold
inside.
outside.
It was cold outside. And the bottom line is all of these new media ventures on the pro-democracy, pro-diversity, pro-one love side of the aisle, we all are linked together. And so we all succeed together. So please support all of us. Don't feel like you have to pick and choose between any of your favorites, because we all are friends. So please support all of us out here in new media. Yes, and as a matter of fact, somebody's talking about Melissa Harris Perry. We were just supposed to be with Melissa Harris Perry because when Tiffany and I got an award recently, she was the third awardee, and we were all going to meet up and break the internet and take a photo together. But we're going to get her to come up, and we're making plans on the back end to reunite with the great Melissa Harris Perry. So, oh yes, trust me, we got plans, y'all. 2026 is about to be live, on and popping. Tiffany, Angela Rye, Melissa Harris Perry. We got it all coming for you guys.
But again, I have to stress, because I got to do my part in this whole thing. It's my job. Please tell somebody, subscribe to this channel, people. Please, that's the only way independent media can survive. And don't worry, I will show my face one of these days. I just got to get it all, to get my room set up properly. But it's set up. I'm a behind the camera guy, but I will come up front soon. But
Jason said he's going to pop out. He's going to pop out and show something.
But the point still being is, please, y'all, tell somebody, encourage others to subscribe. That's the only way we can keep this going. So
absolutely,
please,
and big up,
support.
And those who were loving my look last night, big up to Janice and Coco, the glam squad that came from the artist formerly known of MSNBC. So they've been doing my glam for quite a while. So we want to big them up as well. I look fabulous, but with a lot of help. And so we're going to have a lot of great things coming up this year. But don't forget, put it in your calendars. January 6th, our interview with Zohran Mamdani. That's just one of the many great interviews that we have coming up on this channel. Support new media. Support the shop, support us. We appreciate that because we support you and we love you guys. Thank you so much for allowing us to bring you the uncut, uncensored Zohran Mamdani inaugural, where we got to show you the famous and the not famous all speaking as it should be, letting you experience live events the way we believe you should, which is in full and without any any shading. The one thing we did have to kind of do is when they were playing music,
let's hope
we had to be careful with the music
because know it's copyrighted material and they do strike your content.
Right. So we did pull away.
It was a live event, so hopefully they'll just give us a blind.
Let us know, because yes, that's the only time we had to pull away is when they were playing music, because YouTube don't play that. They don't let you play music. But all right, y'all. Thank you very much. We are going to release you to the rest of your Friday Junior. Thank you so much for being here, and we will see you all tomorrow night at our normal time, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at the Joy Reid Show. Last thing I'm going to say, last night at the party, one of our party guests literally said, "Oh my God, it's so great to see you. And I've been really missing you on Ms. Now and wondering where you've been." Did not know, even though this is a friend of ours, did not know we had a show. So there are still millions of people who are unaware that this show existed.
The fact we know this person, like, what the heck?
Unaware that this show existed. And so what we want you all to do is share. Tell a friend, tell your cousin, tell your uncle who used to watch MSNBC, your MSNBC addicted grandma, your aunties and cousins who used to love MSNBC. Let people know that the Joy Reid Show is here, because people still come up to me in airports, in these streets, saying, "Oh my God, I miss you so much on MSNBC. What are you doing now? How can I support you?" The show is here. We need to let people know. All right. So let folks know that the show is here, because we don't pay for like advertising budgets. We don't do all that. We're just doing organic growth. We're growing organically with our friends, and we appreciate you all for being our friends. Thank you very much to Team TJRS out in these streets. They're out there freezing for you. So thank you to Nitha, Wanjira, and Winnie, our incredible TJRS street team, for bringing us the live, uncut, great video. All right, y'all. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you tomorrow night right here
6
at
p.m.
6 p.m.
Tell
to
a
8
friend,
p.m.
guys. Tell a friend. It's the beginning of the year. Let's grow. Let's grow. Let's grow. I'm
That's
sorry
it.
to sound like a broken record, but let's get this.
That's
Let's
it.
get these numbers up.
Let's
Come
do
on.
it. Let's do it.
Let's get to 500,000 by February. Let's do it, people. Come on.
Let's do it. All right. Love y'all. Have a great rest of the day. And we'll see you on the next The Joy Reid Show. Play the music.
Okay.